Howdy, y'all. Just updating Cardboard Live. Getting ready to start things off here. Thanks to those who are in the room already. Alright, well, I've tried a bunch of decks, and the only one I've found that really keeps pace with Omnath while still being interesting for me to play so far has been Temur Clover. At some point I'm going to have to try Corey Baumeister's 4-color Yorion list, but this deck just seems perfectly solid against Omnath so far, and excellent against the rest of the field. Whenever I play a different deck, my rating goes down. Whenever I play this deck, my rating goes up, and so here we are, back again. Hi there, Team Plasma Guy and Max MTG. Good to see some regulars in the room. Still pretty undecided about what I want the mix of DFC cards to be in this deck. I've been hankering for another green source. I think I might go to 8 Forest and 4 Island here. Currently on 15, only 16 green sources has not felt like enough, because you just can't responsibly keep a hand without a green source most of the time. This takes me down to 12 blue sources, which is pretty low, but manageable. I could do some Jawari Disruption here. The problem is that Jawari Disruption is a really bad spell. It's much worse than Shatterskull Smashing, and I think it's worse than Spikefield Hazard, too. It's just hard to fit everything. I could go with some Temple of Mystery. Maybe that's actually a thing to do. Maybe I throw in a Temple of Mystery. Or even 2 Temple of Mystery and, like, 2 DFC cards. I think I want to try that out, because, like, missing mana has been, like, my biggest problem so far. Alright, so we're on 3 islands, 7 forest, a mountain, 3 temple. That takes me to 26 lands, which means I cut one of the double DFC cards. Feels like Spikefield Hazard is pretty safe to go. The card has rarely done much for me. Could cut an Of One Mind for a Shatterskull Smashing here. Maybe I do that. So we're basically with this, we're on 28 lands effectively. I'll start with this. We'll see where that goes. Yeah, Snow Monkey, that was sometimes it takes like Tammy watching the stream be like, that it just doesn't show up as a notification. And then I just end up feeling silly about it. So glad that's working well for you. Yeah. So trying a slightly different land configuration. We'll see how it feels. The tricky thing about DFC cards is when you're playing Temur Clover, the DFC cards are so much weaker than your other cards that, unlike a deck that's like a Sultai control deck where you can play like Saloon Vision and Hagra Mauling, and those are just like actual spells that do the same thing as your other spells, all the land spells in Temur Clover, except for like in the very late game Bala Ged Recovery, they all suck. And so you really can't responsibly keep like 3 lands and 2 DFC lands and 2 spells most of the time. That's like a very bad hand. So I think it's okay to have like 1 or 2 copies, but I think they have to be pretty high impact spells, and you think about them as like flood insurance in the late game, more so than being like real cards that do stuff. Alright, well, we got both of our DFCs in hand, but it's actually a perfectly fine hand on the play here, so I'm going to keep these. And we'll start with this nice tap land on 1, because it's not unlikely that I'm going to end up stomping something on 2, and then either jamming Of One Mind or Bone Crusher on 3. Okay, it's a nice stomp target there, and would rather hold up stomp than do Temple of Mystery here. Already have a couple blue sources, so I don't need to worry about saving the red on this, so especially against an aggro deck, I'm pretty happy to be able to hold up Shatterskull Smashing as a land, and ooh, a real creature to stomp? Don't mind if I do. And Lovestruck Beast, fortunately, is pretty bad against my deck, thanks to just the sheer number of bounces and stomp effects I run. This card has a really hard time hitting us much of the time. So a few options this turn. I could Hurdle Footsteps into a mountain, which gives me access to Shatterskull Smashing for this 1/1, which could stop a Beanstalk Lovestruck Beast from attacking. I could just cast Of One Mind, again, maybe try to draw into my own Lovestruck Beast, which could block well, or into a Brazen Borrower for their token, or something like that. I don't think I just want to cast Bone Crusher Giant. It blocks the 1/1 for a turn, but it's a bad blocker against Lovestruck Beast. Really doesn't help me much in the situation. Feels like... yeah, I think I'm just going to Of One Mind here. It's a close call. I can see either of those plays being right. I love the number of basically good draws that One Mind gives me, that if I have a Lovestruck, a Borrower, or a Bone Crusher in the top 3 cards, I get to fend off this Lovestruck Beast. The thing that concerns me is if my opponent has the Great Henge, I'm going to be pretty far behind, but hey, Fae of Wishes can handle that. I mean, they'll still get a turn or two with it in play, which would be bad, but it's not going to be a game over necessarily. Ember X3, triple blue is really hard to hit. Not a big fan of that one, I think. It's also, Temur Clover is a deck that's very good at playing out its whole hand very quickly. Because you think about it, almost all the spells in this deck are pretty cheap, and they just end up being expensive when they're sitting over here. So, not a big fan of like a spell that requires you to have a decent-sized hand to make use of it. I'd rather have something like Shatter Skull Smashing, where if I just top deck this, it's like, oh, great, I can kill 2 things. Well, this attack's interesting. I assume my opponent has another 1/1, but I'm just going to go ahead and take it, because if they do have another 1/1, I can Fae of Wishes for a Blazing Volley to kill it. Worst comes to worst. Or I can Shatter Skull Smash it, maybe. Alright, they did have another token. This is great, though, because if at some point they're going to run out of 1/1s. At some point they're going to run out of 1/1s. Alright, so now, is the play just Fae for a Blazing Volley, or is this the turn where I try to do some mana development and maybe set up for my opponent casting this other Lovestruck Beast and getting smashed? Yeah, I'm thinking probably just Beanstalk Giant into Mountain, followed by Bone Crusher Giant. This means that if they have a Questing Beast, I can block it with Bone Crusher Giant. And if all they do is play another Lovestruck Beast, then next turn the Blazing Volley really gets them, because they have 2 creatures that presumably can't attack at that point. Hey, Kevavis, thanks for the subscription! New subscriber already? It's looking like a good night. Thank you very much. And Kanzenba, you're asking about how the deck matched up against Omnath. So far, I'm 6-2 against Omnath in Mythic Ladder. Doesn't mean it's a great matchup by any means, but I felt pretty comfortable with it so far. Hasn't felt like insurmountable. Alright, so we're taking 10 now, but we can still turn off this Lovestruck Beast. I could use Shatter Skull Smashing for that, so let's keep that in mind, because Fae of Wishes, of course, is a really flexible spell. You don't want to just use this as a Blazing Volley if you can help it. And I believe the move here is going to be Shatter Skull Smashing for 1, kill this token, and then just wish for Escape to the Wilds. I could also just cast Beanstalk Giant, come to think of it, though. Is that better? Problem with casting Beanstalk Giant is I just die to a 3rd Primal Might. They've already cast 2, though. How many other 1/1s do they play? Let's assume they have 4 Stonecoil Serpent. That gives them 6 other 1/1s. A Stonecoil Serpent they might not have played from hand, but I think also we haven't gained the little pauses that tell me about that kind of thing. Alright, I'm going to go for Shatter Skull Smashing into Escape to the Wilds here. No. Oh, this is tough, chat. It's tough. Actually, no. I'm gonna go for Beanstalk Giant this turn. If they have a 3rd Primal Might, I lose. But if they don't, next turn I get to Shatter Skull Smashing for 6. So whatever they cast, I just get to wipe their board, basically. We'll see if I get punished by the 3rd Primal Might. You can't always make perfect decisions at times like this, but it looks like they don't have it based on that Lovestruck Beast play, which is good. Alright, they had the Stonecoil Serpent, so I'm really glad we didn't spend our whole turn taking on this 1/1. We would have been taking a lot of damage. And now we have a bunch of options here. So if I Fae of Wishes for Blazing Volley, I can then play Edgewell Innkeeper, play Blazing Volley to take out the 1/1, and then play Fae of Wishes to draw a card, which basically makes their Lovestruck Beast incapable of attacking, gives me several blockers. That's pretty nice. I can also Fae of Wishes for Return to Nature to kill the Serpent and just play out the Fae of Wishes. Basically, the card I'm worried about most here, I think, is Primal Might. I'm trying to figure out how do I make sure I'm not dead to Primal Might. And the correct answer might just be Shatter Skull Smashing these 2 cards and then just play Edgewell Innkeeper and Temple of Mystery. But I think we're going to do that, actually. Just, again, turn off their ability to have 1/1s. Oh, this auto-split drives me nuts.
That's the goal.
And then, even if they have like another 1/1, we still have 2 blockers in play, so I can still block their Lovestruck Beast just fine. And then next turn, Fae of Wishes has all sorts of options. I don't have access to Shadow Spear in the sideboard right now, which does feel like a mistake at times like this. But I do have a bunch of other sweet cards I could get instead. Alright, Cardboard Live is presumably working again, so I should turn off the Nightbot command at some point. Try to make that a thing. Alright, putting out another Stone Coil, but trying to make it a 1/1 isn't doing much for them, so... Alright, what I can do here is probably just Fey Bushes for Return to Nature. This 6/6 makes me nervous because it makes Primal Light very, very bad. Like, potentially quite lethal. But I think I just want to get rid of it, jam the Fey, draw a card, and then, you know, see what land I get if I get a tap land or something first. Slow and steady, just playing not to die here, since with the other Fey Bushes in hand, I'm not going to run out of cards or anything. I actually could grab Inscription. Oh, I could just grab Inscription. This is much better, right? Never mind, this is way better than Return to Nature. I'm just going to do that. Okay, that was easy. So now we just get to kick this thing. Glad I saved double green. Yeah, it's not current. You want the cardboard live list. The cardboard live list. All right. We're going to want to do all three of these, please. You. Me. Why is this target player getting life? So strange. Okay, so we're back up to a comfy 19 with an 11/11 in play. I believe we have now officially stabilized. I don't see our opponent coming back from this one. Maybe Great Henge, but we still have Return to Nature in our sideboard now, so that's a lot harder to do. Okay, well, we haven't actually haven't had a Lucky Clover all game, so we didn't even need to worry about this. So now what do? I'm going to start by just casting this. Just draw some cards before I decide to pay for anything in particular. I mean, this is sort of all roads lead to Rome. Nothing really matters. I could have gotten Ugin with this Fey Bushes or something, but it's whatever. Let's play out a couple more creatures. I don't think they have anything that's going to get me here. And oh, look at that, a Lucky Clover. So I could play this and wait to Fey later, or I could just Fey now. I think I'll just Fey now. Grabbing Escape to the Wilds. Could have gotten Ugin. Maybe I'm supposed to get Ugin. I'm not used to having Ugin in the sideboard. I only put him there recently. Nope, Weed Magic, there's no Shadow Spear right now. Foxy! Thanks for the resubscription. 6 months. Veteran subscriber. Grateful for your patronage as always. Thank you. And Die Termination, thanks for following. Kazandu Mammoth. Ah, this card is so sweet in mono green. I don't want to play mono green just to have my sweet dual land creature thing, but I have other sweet priorities at the moment. Cardboard Life still broken, He10? Darn it, it just updated, so I was hoping it would actually have an updated thing. Oh, I need to finish the setup. Alright, in a few minutes it should have the thing. Alright. Gotta type a thing to a person and then fire off this Escape to the Wilds. Okay. Alright, that definitely is plenty of ammo to finish the game here. What do I think of Omnath and the Clover deck, Zerger? Probably not. 4 colors is worse than 3 colors. And Omnath, I mean, if you're playing Omnath and Fabled Passage suddenly, I guess it's fine. But it just, I mean, as a flex slot, I guess it's okay. It's like one of those many, many cards where it's like, well, yeah, seems like a fine thing to do with your flex slot, but is it that great? Eh. Alright, and I think we just go for the other Triome. I mean, I might cycle that later. Just cast Fey. With this other Lucky Clover, I'm basically holding up triple bounce, triple stomp, so I might just be able to kill them next turn. And this also feels like a reasonable time to start attacking. Wait, this is Reach? This has Reach! I remembered, chat, I remembered. I almost never remember that. Evening, Bill HS. Did you change your name? You did, right? Yeah, I'm actually kind of undecided between Shadow Spear and Inscription. I like that Inscription like kind of is a bad Primal Might and a bad Shadow Spear. And in some cases it's a good Shadow Spear. There are definitely games where I've been really pressured to like get a big creature down that could survive and also attack. And the trample part of Shadow Spear is now covered by Embercleave, so my thinking is that Inscription's going to stay, but it's early yet. Oh, determination. If you don't run Ugin, you gotta that Shadow Spear back in your deck. The old-fashioned Shadow Spear Mystic Repeal package. Yeah, that was what I was thinking, Bill. I also just realized that you could put Sorcerer's Spyglass in your sideboard and then name Fabled Passage with it, which is surely worse than Confounding Conundrum, but still. Naming Fabled Passage. Ah, right, it's the green deck's other 1-drop. Not bad against Stomp, I guess. Boy, they had a pretty solid draw, right? 6 lands, 17 cards. I mean, Kazandu Mammoth, I guess, is technically what it is. Alright, do I just wish for Ugin and kill them? I'm probably just supposed to wish for Ugin and kill them, right? I have enough mana to do that. Yeah, right. I'm not gonna be lazy here. We're just gonna do the thing where they die, I think. I guess if I do that and they get Questing Beast, that doesn't actually work. Never mind. I found an excuse to play with them longer. I'm gonna get Shadow Spear now. Shadow Spear will do it. Okay. Shadow Spear, or not Shadow Spear, Embercleave. What am I saying? Embercleave plus Kazul's Fury or whatever, doesn't really matter. Okay, cool. Is party relevant, Boreas? I mean, I think some good mutate cards are relevant, and probably some good party cards are relevant. I have not seen... I'm not even sure I've seen a party deck on Mythic Ladder, period. And I certainly haven't seen any that felt really good to me, unless it's like, you know, random kind of you happen to have a party effect in your Winota deck or something. Alright, mono green. Do I want to bring in any main deck removal against this? I think Balagad Recovery seems very slow, and I'd rather have something slightly quicker. Storm's Wrath seems like a pretty good substitute. Yeah, there's a question about having Storm's Wrath in the sideboard versus the main deck for this kind of matchup. I think I like it as replacement for Balagad Recovery. It's like really hard to wish for it and then cast it. It costs 8 mana, which is a lot in this kind of matchup. Faye is often going to be getting cheaper stuff or just getting cast as a blocker. I do want to keep the Inscription on the board. Being able to like wish for your 1 life gain spell feels really important to me. I just have so many games against aggro where I desperately need to gain some life, and I have lots of cards, but I still have to like sweat, you know, any kind of pump spell or questing beast or something because I can't gain any life. Yeah, red cap melee probably not good enough to be main deck against the deck with no red creatures. Llamas and card draw. Temur Clover, I think, is one of the standard decks in recent history, maybe in all of Magic's history. I don't know where Pilot Skill has made the biggest difference. And I'm not saying that of like, oh, I'm so good. Look at me, because I have done well in Magic with a lot of dumb kind of lower skill decks, like blue green mass manipulation did not take as much finesse, to say the least. But when it comes to alright, so we just gotta dodge. We gotta dodge Gem Razor, and if they play Gem Razor and kill this Clover, I get to bounce it, and it resets their first 2 plays, so it's not so bad. If they have any other creature, then we're just gonna blow them out. Yep. Oh, jeez, chat. Oh, jeez. How would we get to do this? How is this legal? Anyway, so yeah, it's just Temur Clover is a very complicated deck to play. There's lots of decision points. All of your cards do multiple things. There's like a ton of sequencing decisions that are tricky. You often have to like kind of go for some kind of unlikely outs off of Escape to the Wilds to win games. It's just a hard deck to play, and this I think player skill does matter a lot. And I think it's telling that like I think it just rewards like really good Magic fundamentals. I think it's telling that people like Scott Vargas picked it up for their Mythic qualifiers after it became popular and just like got 10 wins with it pretty easily, and that someone like Luis Salvato, who's of course a master, became one of the best Temur Clover players after picking it up. And Milkcrate, am I one of the best Magic players in the world? I don't know. Questions like that are just really hard to answer and rarely felt like they were all that, like there was much of a point to them, I guess. Okay, so this is actually an interesting turn. My mana lines up kind of awkwardly. I can Lovestruck token plus cast Lovestruck and leave Clover in hand. I can cast Escape to the Wilds. I can go Clover, triple token, Innkeeper, but no Lovestruck, and then I'm just chumping Yorvo. That honestly might be the play, though, huh? That probably is just the play. Triple tokens, chump Yorvo well, I can get Lovestruck down afterward. Innkeeper might be like a good sneaky removal target where I don't actually care if it lives because I have this Escape the Wilds, but maybe it distracts them. If they have a Gem Razor to put on top of Yorvo, then I really get punished very badly for this play. But they didn't have a Gem Razor on turn 3, so they have to draw in like the last 2 turns. They'll create the best Magic player of all time or the most popular. Well, if I were the most popular Magic player of all time, I could easily make a living off of this, which would be pretty sweet, so I gotta say that's tempting. If I were the best Magic player of all time, I still wouldn't, I feel like that would not deliver much extra value to me. Like, maybe I would win a few more tournaments, but goodness knows that even the best Magic player in the world does not, win most of the tournaments they enter into. Like, best in the world still means that I'm, microns ahead of somebody like Paulo Vitor da Rosa or Luis Scott Vargas, and I'm still having to sweat out every match I ever play with them. Just give me the popularity. Give me that Croaky's value. All right, I believe this is the turn to just escape here. If we hit 2 untapped lands, I can just jam Lovestruck Beast, which is good roadblock. And then there's always the chance of just grabbing something like a Brazen Borrower and just going the heck off against my opponent. So we're just like prioritizing not taking damage right now. I just like want to mess up their next turn really badly. Is that true, actually? What's the worst thing they could do here? So if I play Lovestruck Beast as a 5/5, they slam a Gem Razor on their Yorvo and like ram through my Lovestruck Beast, and then I'm taking almost lethal damage, and that's kind of uncomfortable. I think I just want to make sure to bounce their board this turn, and then next turn I can start casting big stuff. Like, if I bounce their board, I'm going to feel very safe casting this Escape the Wilds next turn, and that's a big deal. Cerez Yum, thanks for the resubscription. It's been a great day for subs so far. Is Wizards going to ban Clover? Probably not. It feels like it just hasn't been putting up any kind of numbers as far as tournaments go. As far as win rate goes, I feel like I would be surprised if Clover had a very high win rate on ladder. So maybe, but it would not be in my top 4 list of cards I think could be banned. I think that would have to be like Uro, Omnath, Cobra, Cleave in something like that order. Maybe even Genesis Ultimatum. Alright, so obviously it looks a bit wasteful, but this Brazen Borrower is not a good card against them anyway. I'm not really attacking them that hard, and it can't block any of their creatures. So just using it to reset 7 mana worth of spells is kind of great. Xanadu Mammoth, sure. Storm's Wrath. Alright, Storm's Wrath looking actually kind of awkward right now. Doesn't really stop their stuff that effectively. I'm just going to go for Escape here. Now they don't have Questing Beast on the board, their plays that they could have are a lot less scary for me. And also we just drew Beanstalk Giant, so now I get to go 3rd Clover, quadruple Beanstalk, make a bunch of Lovestruck tokens, play a Lovestruck. And that should clean out the game pretty well. The Big Bad Thor, how does this beat Omnath stuff? I don't know. Look at what I'm doing now. You have 4 Stomp to go with their 4 Lotus Cobra. So they have a hard time getting your early Clover down against, or early Cobra down against you consistently. And it's basically there are a bunch of ways you can kind of counter the stuff they're doing ahead of time. For example, you can, wishing for Mystical Dispute can set their Genesis Ultimatum back several turns. Like a Beanstalk Giant is a creature that, yeah, they can go off and have a big turn, but unless their big turn involves a Felidar retreat or whatever, you're still going to have a hard time getting through a 15/15 Beanstalk Giant. And I think their deck also just has some number of clunky draws where all they really have going on is Uro, and this is a deck that really cares very little about Uro. Yeah, Jeff, that may be the case, but of the best players in the world, how many are I don't know, the top 10 players in the world, how many are Japanese? And maybe they have a big following in Japan, but I wouldn't know about it, and they don't have a big following here. Or how many might be, I don't know, thought process. Where are my thoughts going on this? How many just don't seek out that kind of popularity or can't keep a consistent stream schedule going or something? It's Luis Scott Vargas isn't just popular because he's amazing. He's popular because he's hilarious and very entertaining person to watch. Kevlarman, yep, 1 mountain and 3 islands seems right. Determination, I do get screwed once in a while. I could see putting 2 mountain back in now that I'm off of one of my red red tap lands. The thing is that like all 8 pathways are red lands, and so you're effectively playing 9 mountains in the deck. Yeah, not being able to fetch one is sometimes bad, but you're like so heavy on red compared to how much red you actually need that I felt like it rarely, like the second mountain's been something I barely missed at all. All right, so what's the get here? We don't have a lot of like straightforward removal for them. I get red cat melee. Red cat melee just taking out a questing beast seems pretty good in this at this juncture. I get once in future. Do I have anything good to once in future back? Did I lose bean? No, I don't have anything like interactive in the graveyard to get. I think I'll just pick up Ugin. Ugin should probably do this pretty decisively for me. Pick up Inscription, pick up Red Cat melee to protect Ugin after he comes down so they can't questing beast him. And I guess another... I guess Return to Nature in case they have a big Stone Coil that Ugin can't kill. Something like that. Cool. Whee! Eminently, the pathway decisions are usually not that hard. It's just like, I want one of every color pretty badly, and then past that, it's not so bad. Man, it's been a long time since I've activated Mulligan. Okay. 4. Did it right, did it right, did it correctly. Okay, so not going to play out Fae of Wishes since the only thing I'm really worried about from their side is Questing Beast. Kevlar Man, what's your current Clover mana base looking like? Ooh, rewarded. Rewarded for playing around that thing. Okay. Get out of here. Oh, did I weed? Did not realize. Yay, pathway. Actually pretty crazy. It took me more than half the deck to find my first pathway of any kind. That's fair, Government. I can see it not feeling like a very high priority.
That's the goal.
In this strange standard environment we live in that could change at any moment. You can see here that the domesticated giant of... Domestic? What's the word for, like, has joined society? Domestic, I guess, not domesticated. It's not a pet. The domestic giants of Eldraine are somewhat less impressive than the more robust wild specimens. Viperman, thanks for the follow. Yeah, Kevlarman, temples are super awk. Like, there's so many tap lands in this build, and yet, like, Standard has slowed down. It's like I feel like you can afford to compromise a little bit for the consistency. Yeah, Civilized works imminently. Anyway, well, that's top 150. Let's move right along. I'm hoping to run into Omnath a bunch of times. I'm 6-2 against it, but it still feels like that matchup could go either way, and Omnath is so prohibitively powerful that I don't want to assume I actually have a good matchup against it yet. The more I see it, the more I'm going to feel out how the matchup really is, although at some point I'm going to have to start testing against my Grand Finals teammates, and they're going to play the deck really well, and then we'll really know the truth. Jesus, this hand is so tempting, chat. This hand is so tempting. We got the Scryland, the one-lander Scryland on the draw. My deck currently runs 28 lands. 28 lands. I need to hit like 2 lands in my top 4 cards for this hand to be just ungodly. And even if I only hit 1 land, as long as it's a red source, I have a good amount of interaction. I'm going to keep this. It's kind of greedy maybe, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, chat. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Land? Nope, bottom with you. God, I love Scrylands, chat. Oh, hey Zeus. Basically, Ugin, you know, I like cheap situational stuff because usually you can solve almost any problem in Standard with like the right combination of cheap situational cards. The problem is that once in a while you get a Standard that has a bunch of decks where actually the big problems can't easily be solved with cheap situational cards. And that's when you need something like an Ugin that's actually just a universal board clear. It's like, I wanted something that basically against Omnath can take out a board full of, I don't know, 6/6 cats. Like Storm's Wrath, it used to be that Storm's Wrath plus expansion could take care of almost anything that Ugin could take care of. But nowadays we've got even bigger problems than that. Okay, Radha Heart of Keld is cute, but you see, so obviously the Omnath deck here has a slightly worse start than they typically do. But every deck stumbles sometimes. Alright, so I'm going to want to go with just the other island here. Much more important to have blue early than green usually. And we'll zap Radha now. Obviously, we lose the ability to zap an Omnath this way.
That's the goal.
But they would need an untapped white source to have Omnath, and then we can red cap melee it off of Fave next turn. I'd rather just not give them the chance at a free draw with Radha. You do want to restrain this deck on cards if you can. Tacos, 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 tacos! First time subscriber, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. They had a second Radha chat, now I'm just bummed out. I'm just bummed out by the state of affairs, but it's alright, it's alright. We're just going to double for Fertile Footsteps here. This is... I drew 3 copies of my Lotus Cobra, chat. Alright, so I want to go for... Yeah, I haven't really noticed a difference between Kenrith and non-Kenrith. It's like, generally it's just like which deck is going off harder at any point. Alright, so having less than 1 fetchable mountain here is a little sad, because I would have loved to cast Bone Crusher this turn, but I'm just going to go for Of One Mind here. Like, playing out a 5/5 by itself and not taking 3 damage off of Radha isn't something I care about too much. But yeah, maybe actually with the Temple of Mysteries I probably want to put a second mountain back in here. Also, trust O2 me. Trust to me? Whatever, however you pronounce it, thank you for the follow as well. Didn't want to miss you there. Okay, opponents wielding their Beanstalk Giants rather less convincingly than we are. So next turn, I'm right now thinking is probably going to be like Lucky Clover, Triple Wish, getting negate red cap melee once in future. And this lets us counter one of their big draw spells, kill the Radha, and then just like do it all again later. I think that should work out pretty well. I guess I should technically be Temple of Mysterying first, in case that changes my mind. I don't think it's going to, because this turn's so sweet, but... Let's see if I change my mind. I'll take a Bone Crusher Giant, that seems nice.
Become Aaron Gertler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
I guess the real question is, do I want to once in future or just want to escape to the wilds? I think it's just once in future. My Beanstalk Giants are just so much bigger than theirs. And I just don't want them ever resolving a Genesis Ultimatum, because that's pretty much the only way they ever get back in this game. Poor lad indeed. Pour one out for Marek. Yeah, I'm just getting once in future. Let's do it. By Radha. So they can resolve an Omnath here if they want to, but as long as they're not casting Genesis Ultimatum or Escape to the Wilds, I don't really care about Omnath. Omnath can do a little bit of life point swinging and a little bit of mana generation or whatever, but my Beanstalk Giants are much bigger. Drona, thanks for the follow, and Sharakit, thanks for the follow as well. Yes, be conservative with your wildcards now. I just kind of spent everything in the early weeks. I just wanted a complete playset of the set, partly because I play all the formats in Arena, partly because I knew I had to test for a big tournament coming up. Alright, so their hand has 4 cards that are not lands. This Uro is pretty far from coming back. Alright, Felidar Retreat. Yeah, I'll negate that, whatever. They don't have anything else to do this turn, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Just don't want to see it. So, yeah, I think we're just going to get back. I think this turn is going to be get back, negate Of One Mind, Lovestruck token, Of One Mind, hold up negate, something like that. Yeah, I don't want to be caught pants down without a negate here. Negate's important for my game plan. And the Of One Mind is going to help me draw into something like another Fae of Wishes to end the game. Which is nice. Actually, I can't do all that. Can't do all that unless I'm counting on hitting a land off above on mine, which I am not. So we'll just go for putting 8 power onto the battlefield, holding up the negate. Weed and Magic, I wouldn't say that. There are a lot of good players in the ladder, and Omnath is a really good deck. Would not say anything close to that. Alright, so questions. Trying to get to some more questions here. These turns are complicated. Confounding Conundrum in the sideboard, Iago? I don't think so. I think Confounding Conundrum is pretty good in decks that can like play 4 copies of it and just play it turn 2. But if you're wishing for it, it seems way too late. I'd rather just have a negate. Jappy87, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I think that Confounding Conundrum does help. Like, I wouldn't say it doesn't help. But I just think it's not that critical. Alright, so I could hit them for 6, but it doesn't seem like that accomplishes very much. I'd rather have this Bone Crusher Giant around for, in case something goes disastrously wrong and they start casting actual spells that matter. Alright, hit another red source, which is good. So I can just go Beanstalk Giant, hold up negate here. Do I have anything better to do than that? I could Fae of Wishes for Escape to the Wilds, and then cast Escape and hold up negate? Yes, because I have an untapped land in hand, so that's actually perfectly safe. So that's what I'm going to do here. Fae of Wishes, get Escape to the Wilds. Like, this is the fastest way to kill them, I think, is just... Alright. That is the fastest way to kill them, they just gave up. So obviously a great hand for us and a pretty bad hand for them, but that is one way that you beat them, is that I think you get your butt broken draws about as consistently as they do. Alright, sideboard against this deck. Typically take out Mulligan Recovery just because it's very slow. And if we're on the draw, especially, we don't need the extra land as much. I bring in... I think I'm just on 2 copies. I could go 3 copies of Mystical Dispute or 2. Having 1 to wish for can be nice, because it means that with 5 mana you can use Fae of Wishes to stave off a Genesis Ultimatum. On the other hand, just countering Omnath consistently is also very good. I cut a Brazen Borrower, and I cut a Fae of Wishes here. I want to keep all my card draw, I want to keep all my Lotus Cobra removal. Actually, I'm going to trim Of One Mind, and I'll bring in... I'll bring back Brazen Borrower here. Glorious. Cards that don't really fit into Clover that I think are sweet. I mean, there are a ton of Magic cards like that, like every black and white card, for example. If you mean like sideboard cards that I wish I could justify playing, but I can't, probably Sublime Epiphany is number 1. I think Sublime Epiphany is an incredibly sweet card, but it just, 6 mana wish targets have to, like, basically win you the game from any board, and Sublime Epiphany does not do that, while Ugin does. A Crow and War drop cat. I had that in my sideboard for like the first 5 matches I played with Clover after Theros came out. It was definitely one of the cards I was interested in testing. And it won me one of those games. I forgot what I was playing against. I stole something huge. But no, not really good enough. If you have that much mana, you should just kill their creature. Yep, tacos. That would be... Confounding Conundrum is a great reason to play Orion. Honestly, the thing I've figured out... Didn't take many games to figure this out. Confounding Conundrum is actually kind of amazing against Clover. I think if I had a big concern about Clover, it's that, like, decks with Confounding Conundrum might just accidentally hose us. Because a lot of your big plays, your big draws, rely on throwing a bunch of lands into play in one turn, surprise, surprise. And Confounding Conundrum turning off Beanstalk Giants and making Escape to the Wilds worse is, like, a pretty big deal for a 2-mana enchantment that cantrips. Like, I actually took my 4th loss this season with Clover on ladder today, playing against a mono-blue, like, Nyx Lotus deck. Like, an archetype I faced before and beaten very easily, because I think they're just kind of a worse mid-range deck than Clover on average. But then, Game 2, they played 2 Confounding Conundrums. Game 3, they played 3 Confounding Conundrums. And I just had multiple Beanstalk Giants stuck in my hand with nothing to do the whole game. And I just died to their kind of, like, whatever thing they were doing. So that was impressive. Alright, so we got all our colors, pathways are great. Gonna keep this, it's not incredible. Like, our whole hand kind of gets outsized by an Omnath. But the hand does do a lot of things I like quite a bit. It can stomp a Cobra to death, it can counter an Omnath or an Ultimatum. Basically, it has enough control cards in it that I think I can, stall until I hit my first Escape to Wilds, or my first Innkeeper. I can even kill the second Cobra. You always gotta watch out for that second Cobra. Alright, or they have no Cobras this time. Sure, whatever. This trio I'm not at all unlikely to be cycling, so we'll just hold for now. They play like Radha, I'm just gonna bounce it. They play Uro, I'm gonna ignore it. Nothing happened. So do I stomp them and just slam Bone Crusher Giant? I think I do. Just because they can't play Omnath next turn. They don't have the colors for it. Looks like they maybe just had a really awkward mana draw here. This also is like Mystical Dispute bait. Would be super happy if they cast Mystical Dispute here. Yeah, well, Fable's Passage doesn't really care about it that much, Tacos. It kind of, it can stop you from cracking it for a turn, which can put you, it kind of turns Fabled Passage into a tap land all the time. Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, I have not seen this one before. It seems pretty fine. Seems fine for this list. And I am not casting Bone Crusher Giant this turn. Fortunately, we drew a Temple, which is a really good way to bluff, saying I don't have Mystical Dispute. Although that was actually really dumb, because now they can just all escape the wilds. So that was really dumb, and I shouldn't have done it. Somebody please pump me for playing this stupid tap land against an Escape the Wilds deck. That was a really bad idea. Oh god, they're just going to cast Escape the Wilds, chat. How do I live with myself? Ah! No, this is so bad. Oh, never mind. Alright, oh, it's Omnath with Mystical Dispute up. Oh well, so it goes. So it goes. I could have tried to wait on this and maybe get an ultimatum later, because it's maybe harder for them to cast an ultimatum with Dispute up, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, so now we're in a bit of trouble. Fae of Wishes is a smidgen slow. This is the kind of situation where my best move might just be to Fae and just go get Escape the Wilds now, and hope that I can kind of do something big and get back in the game. This way, like, casting Bone Crusher Giant is just like, is it even good? I don't really know. But the Fae plan is incredibly slow. I think I'm going to go Bone Crusher this turn, plan to Fae next turn, maybe get Red Cat melee, maybe get Escape. Gives me one more turn to draw the Escape naturally, so I don't have to wish for it. But I wouldn't be surprised if after playing this matchup more I conclude that you're just supposed to Fae for Escape in that spot. Alright, so this time the opponent gets off the first Escape, which means probably dying, although it isn't the best set of hits in the world. It's acceptable. Oh, don't unpunt me, Pablo. I think that was a bad play for me. Oh, it's definitely still a punt. You don't do results-oriented thinking, chat. Don't be like, oh, it was a fine play because the bad thing that could have happened didn't happen. Still a bad play. And Pablo Blanca, I think we would. I would expect to get it very soon, if not this upcoming set, then maybe the one after that. They basically said that they are definitely going to complete it soon. I forget where this was, so I don't know if they said which set, but yes, thank you, Solman. You followed the instructions well. I did. That was a punt, and it should not be unpunted just because I got lucky and escaped. The result of my sin. All right, so opponent just got 2 more green sources, which is a little weird. They still don't have. I mean, they have a Dryad of the Elysian Grove, so they kind of have whatever the mana they want. Would they have left an island untapped? It'd be incredibly weird if they didn't just leave an island untapped for this Mystical Dispute that's otherwise useless, but whatever. I would like to draw Escape the Wilds now, please. Failing that, I would accept a Lucky Clover this turn.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight.
Alex14 super fun, thanks for the follow. Hey, that's a Lucky Clover. I accept that. So I'm thinking this is just Clover double stomp the Omnath, hit them. Seems like the thing to do here. If they have an ultimatum, we're still probably going to die to that, but with being able to double wish, getting Escape the Wilds and negate next turn, we might actually be pretty stable. We'll see how this goes. Alright, what's the damage? Wow! Holy crap. Gosh darn, chat, that's not good. If they have like another land in hand to go with this Dryad, we're kind of in trouble. If they don't, Blazing Volley kind of helped to keep this in check. Blazing Volley plus Brazen Borrower. Like, we can beat this. We can definitely beat this. I would just prefer for them not to have another 4-5 this turn. If it's all the same to you, Marique. This is one of the many reasons you play Blazing Volley in your sideboard, by the way. This frickin' thing. And Scoot Swarm and all that stuff. No, Wait, Magic File is actually like a super clean 6-drop. I really like this update to Avenger of Zendikar. It seems like perfectly within the right range of power to me. Thinking it over here. Goes for Bone Crusher. Alright, so they must not have another land in hand, I guess. Ooh, Beanstalk Giant. Okay. So, couple options here. I could just go for land, Beanstalk Giant, cast Bone Crusher Giant, prepare to use Brazen Borrower to bounce 2 of their plants, like whatever plant they put the next counter on. And then Fae of Wishes later. The problem is if I Beanstalk Giant, I can Fae of Wishes into Blazing Volley, but I'm still facing down a giant board of stuff. I'm still taking like 9 off of these. Yeah, I actually think the Beanstalk Giant play setting me up seems better here. Possibly fetching out Early Mountain was a bit loose. Okay, so if they have like Genesis Ultimatum, we're still dead, but there wasn't really any way to get around that. Yeah, the thing about Scoot's form that's like been completely bewildering to me is people calling for it to be banned. Like I've seen several comments on Twitter that I think were serious, where people were like complaining about Scoot Swarm and thinking like, is this what's going to be banned? And it's like, what? A card that trades 1-for-1 with Blazing Volley? Go for it. All right, so the opponent, their best spell to cast was Radha, and whatever's on top of their deck is a spell. This is definitely a weird feeling. All right, we're going to block the Bone Crusher, and then I'm going to plan on bouncing the plant and Radha here? I could just double bounce the plant. I'm actually going to take the 4 and wait here, I think. At the very least, if I'm going to bounce Radha, I want to do it on their end steps. They don't get to attack with her next turn because she's very big. All right, I'm going to go for this now. Oh, I would not be surprised if they ripped an Ultimatum. They still can't cast it, though. So I would be surprised if they ripped and cast an Ultimatum. Alright, so this gets disputed. I guess we could see them having a second Mystical Dispute would make a lot of their plays kind of make more sense here. This now resolves. Is this a plant elemental? It's just an elemental. Okay, so it can't trigger itself. That seems critical. Okay, so my opponent only now has 5 mana, so they can't pump Radha, who does cost 6. So I'm getting rid of this. I think I might just go for Storm's Wrath off of Fae, honestly. Like, kill everything except for their 5/5, which I can, take a hit from. And I just get Escape to the Wilds. The other option, I could also get, like, Blazing Volley plus Negate, but then I have to chump Radha and take 5 off of Phylath. Like, I think I actually just value getting rid of Radha a lot here, so I'm going to do that play. If they have another Mystical Dispute, it's going to ruin my day, but we'll see. Some as Vo. So far, I'm 6-2 against it. It's felt okay. Not incredible, not terrible. I guess the real question is, do I get Ugin here? Is that the other pick? Is that better than Escape to the Wilds? God, it might be. Because Ugin cleans up kind of even like a Genesis Ultimatum turn pretty well. Oh, this smells like they have a counterspell. Definitely smells like they have a counterspell. Not much I can do about that, though. So I think we just have to hope this works. So, Storm's Wrath.
We need to become...
Alright, yeah. On the one hand, that's unfortunate. On the other hand, it was pretty obvious from the way they were playing. They had to have something to do. So the good news is I actually lived through a land. They don't have a land on top. I do die to Fabled Passage. I die to a lot of other stuff, too. But I do live through single land on top of their library now. Plavoy, nope, not going to attack first. I really don't think they're going to block with the 5/5, and also The danger of attacking first is that if they counter my Storm's Wrath, as they did, I am literally dead. And I thought it was pretty likely they had a counterspell there, since they've had a non-land card in hand they haven't been playing this whole time, Omnath. Okay, Omnath is definitely one of those cards in the category does not kill me. Ragran Triumph also does not kill me. Any other land would get me, but they can't play another land this turn right now. So... Alright, gonna go to a small life total. Hope they don't have another Mystical Dispute right now. They are only 5 mana. Ah, crap. If they have the... Alright, I actually have to block Radha here and go to 1. Darn it. So if they have the Harrow, the card that goes and gets 2 lands from the deck at instant speed, they make 4 mana with Omnath and kill me with Radha. So I want to block Radha and go to 1. Problem is if I do that, I'm dead to Stomp. And we do know they play multiple copies of Stomp. And they've already seen 2 copies of Roiling Regrowth this game. So I'm going to block this. I'm going to go to 3 life and hope they don't have Roiling Regrowth. Okay, cool. Died of Fabled Passage. Yep, classic scenario. Alright, do they have another Mystical Dispute? They have something. Alright, opponent brought in a lot of counter magic to go through Escape the Wilds deck. Interesting. Alright, so you can see there, that was like a solid start from there, right? They got off the Escape the Wilds, they got way ahead on mana and permanence, and we were still super in that game if they hadn't like top decked a counterspell that turn. So they whiffed 1 counterspell off Escape and they drew 3 more that game. So that was tricky. Phylath is interesting. Phylath makes me want more Brazen Borrowers, but... Close game nonetheless. I feel like that's how the matchup truly is. Like, my best guess about the matchup is that it really is just close. Like, you know, it's going to often come down to situations like that where one side just has the 1 extra resource that makes the difference. Alright, this hand looks pretty solid. Could use some more mana. But we can hold our opponent off for a while. We've got answers to Cobra, answers to Omnath, etc. Lots of counterspells we have to play around now. That's okay. Another dispute. Alright, so... This is tricky. This is not going to be trivial, for sure. See if they jam a Cobra into play for us here. Nope. Alright, not going to do any stomping here. Given that I'm mana screwed right now, I kind of need to marshal every resource I can. This could get killed, but I don't really care. Can't afford to just like sit around not playing things. This would be a disappointing end to what's been a pretty cool match so far, but we'll see. Rada Heart of Keld, sure. They hit the land off the top. They sure did. Nice, nice, nice. Oh god, do I have to just cast his Fae of Wishes? I think I need to hit land drops so badly that casting Fae of Wishes is correct. Like if I don't hit lands, I just can't play the game. Alright, that's a land, and it's a land that casts Mystical Dispute, so it's pretty good. Obviously, Radha sitting there and probably drawing my opponent a card every turn is not great. So if we get like a Beanstalk Giant, we can be right back in this. Timber X3, Mono Red, Embercleave decks in general have lasted through the rotation pretty well. They all picked up some new cards, but... Yeah, Cardboard Live, alright, Cardboard Live I guess just still can't may either not be processing new cards or may just not have picked up that we're playing a new deck here. Maybe I'll restart it and see if it kicks back into gear. Alright, I'm just going to counter this. Whatever. Going to use my counters where I can. This also tells me they have a Mystical Dispute, which is good to know. I'd be perfectly okay with them disputing my dispute if it came to that. Sure. Alright, I assume they did not have a land on top of their deck, so they're going to be hunting for one to play off of Radha, maybe. Okay, they don't have any lands in hand. But they did have one on top of their deck. I suppose. Oh, mono red's definitely worse. Definitely worse. Okay, they didn't have anything, and now Beanstalk Giant was the draw we needed. Alright. Actually, I feel like the game's actually in a pretty even space right now. I mean, my opponent could at any point just jam an Escape the Wilds or something, but they apparently don't have a land on top. So we are going to take Radha down right now before they can use her to draw more lands. We leave ourselves vulnerable to them casting Omnath this turn, but if they don't have any lands to go with Omnath, that's kind of fine. Okay, they had the Omnath, but they don't have a counterspell up, so we're going to cast Escape the Wilds and see where that takes us. Yeah, losing light at this stage is a horrible, horrible thing. Wow. Well, that was really clean. We hit an extremely obvious Mystical Dispute, so I feel like we might just get Genesis Ultimatum right at the tournament now. But, let's see. Pretty interested in... Do I Temple this turn? I don't think I do yet. I think I just go for Innkeeper the second plus Beast. Alright, so disappointing hits. We're now in some trouble. I needed to kind of get more card advantage off of that, or like another Fae of Wishes maybe. But if they don't have like they didn't have a land earlier, so they have to rip a Fabled Passage pretty fast to get me well. Okay, this is also fine. They get 2 land drops, but oh, they get Phylath World Sculptor this turn. They don't have very many basics, so it's kind of okay. I can handle Phylath. Okay, that was a forest from hand. Plains over there. Okay. I mean, I assume you would just Phylath here. Yep. Oh! Okay, they had a Phylath in their hand. Fascinating. What a fascinating game we're playing here. Okay, another Borrower. It's kind of clean, so... I'm gonna start with Lovestruck Beast at this juncture. I would like to basically have, like, bounce this turn, followed up by maybe bounce next turn, plus hold it... I'd like to be able to bounce this turn and then hold it Mystical Dispute. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm gonna draw a couple cards. Another bounce spell, okay. So Phylath being held in check pretty well. I guess there's actually no real reason to bounce now, other than playing around counterspells. But 5 cards in hand. Yeah, I think the play here is just bounce Phylath, bounce a plant, so if they want to recast Phylath, I can dispute it. I guess they can then dispute my dispute and make a land drop, but then the plant can't attack through Lovestruck Beast, neither can Omnath. I could also just bounce Omnath and Phylath. Maybe that's the play. Bounce Omnath, Phylath. Just they can't get a huge mana boost, but they would need... This is really complicated. I'm just going to pass the turn here, I think. I'm just going to, with 2 Brazen Borrowers and a Mystical Dispute up, I'm just going to pass the turn and see what the heck they do with themselves. I'm just, like, really curious. Okay, so plant gets big, plant still can't attack. Opponent's gaining life, but that's okay. I can counter an ultimatum. I don't care about this other Phylath, I don't particularly care about Uro. So I can counter Uro coming out of their graveyard, no problem. It has Roiling Regrowth, and that's going to make Phylath go do some crazy stuff. So in response to that, I am now going to go for the play of bounce Phylath, bounce Omnath. I think I don't want them getting the mana boost off of Omnath this turn if I can help it. Obviously, they get to play Omnath and draw a card later, but you can see already that we're at the point in the game where one person drawing an incidental card here and there is not super important. So just to check, we did bounce Phylath with the first copy. Let's bounce Omnath here. Well, Nimbraxi, they're going to ban Uro, so you are correct in that they're going to ban some old card they should have banned a while ago. X Laser, by the way, thanks for the follow. Sorry I missed you there for a bit. I think I might have also missed Rickety. If you're still here, Rickety, I appreciate you. Scoot Swarm is not going anywhere. There is no reason they would ban that card. Alright, so some stuff goes away. I'm going to let them have this Whirling Regrowth, it's whatever. And if they go for Uro, I'm just going to Mystical Dispute it. Just because this Mystical Dispute in my hand is going to lose its cachet pretty soon. Actually, if they do go for Uro, do I dispute it? I might not. I might just jam Borrower, draw 2 cards off of it. What I really want is a Fae of Wishes, so I can just wish for negate. Kind of clean things up here. I just think we're going to get to the point pretty soon in this game where Phylath doesn't matter. Alright, opponent's casting Uro, but that other Uro. Not the one in the graveyard, that's fine. Oh man, getting Tormod's Crypt would be nice too. They didn't play the land from here, but they don't have another land in hand. What a strange game. I feel like they could still go over top of us at any time, but hasn't happened yet, so whatevskis. And now, as you can see, we're really getting our clock on with these flyers. Totally going to beat them down in the air. Xylo, it's going well so far. I think we're somewhat ahead in the second match, and we won the first match. I'm going to dispute this Brazen Borrower. Spikefield Hazard and Innkeeper. Spikefield Hazard and Innkeeper. A little late, buddy, a little late. Do that first next time. Beanstalk Giant's pretty good. Fae of Wishes is absolutely excellent. Alright, so currently I have 8 mana available to me. If I Beanstalk, I have 7. And then I can Fae of Wishes for Tormod's Crypt plus Negate, which seems great. And then I've already got my Carter Engine because I got these Innkeepers, so I believe that's where I'm going with this. Don't really need the escapes as long as I have the Innkeepers out. Starting to run out of basics here, notably. Phylath coming down is a bit more dangerous starting next turn, but still not very dangerous, just given the sheer number of interactive things I have at the moment. I will Temple of Mystery first, because that's a responsible thing to do. And then I'll Fae for Crypt plus Negate. Getting Ugin here doesn't seem advisable. My opponent has a bunch of counterspells in their deck. I don't want to try and resolve an 8-mana spell at any point this game, if I can help it. Do have to Crypt now. Getting rid of 2 Uros is always nice. This is why you play Crypt instead of the Lantern. Cheap spells are great. And now I think I might just hold up Negate and Dispute, actually. Because I have 2 Brazen Borrowers, and one of them I can flash an end of turn. Yeah, let me hold up Negate and Dispute. I think getting the other Innkeeper down is not that important here. I'd rather have access to just a little bit more mana. So opponent and I are basically even on mana here. We're even on just both having a ton of crap to do. And the question is just like, whose deck is going to be more flexible in this situation? I feel like I'm in a good spot vis-a-vis having a lot of flexible options. Also, thank God Phylath isn't Avenger of Zendikar. Being able to pick off, like, token targets one at a time, no problem. Phylath, problem. Okay, Omnath coming down. Gonna say that's okay with me. Feel like this dispute could still easily counter a real spell, and I would like to do that if possible. Is this where we see the Fabled Passage come down and punish me hardcore? If they do that, in response to them cracking Fabled Passage, I can try to double stomp Omnath, which is nice. Ryan H. Gruul Adventures has been putting up really good results. I would hate to say that Temur Adventures is better than Gruul Adventures, I really don't know. I do think Temur Adventures is probably better than the control decks in the format. Maybe, I mean, there are a lot of control decks. I think Temur Adventures is probably the deck that, well played, is like up there with Omnath for having the highest win rate if you just played so much of random stuff. If you're talking about what deck should you bring to a tournament if you want to win that tournament, I think Temur Clover is definitely in that conversation too, but it's like very much a matter of what kind of metagame you expect. There are probably decks that are better at beating Omnath than Temur is, but I think those decks give up a lot against other decks, including Temur. Team are really praised on anti-Omnath decks. Philidar retreat. Okay, well, this is where we negate it, and then they dispute my negate, and then I dispute their dispute. And then everybody's happy. I'm doing a pretty bad job of drawing Fabled Passage, which is great news for me. Really glad we didn't play that Innkeeper, by the way. Oh, camera's a bit low. Maybe I'm just a bit high. Too high on my own supply here of Clover. Raise the monitor a little bit, actually. Yeah, I don't really understand Guerrilla Adventures either. It's like, but hey, Jason Florent must know something that we all don't know, chat. More the fools us. Okay, Edgewall. Just going to draw a bunch of cards this turn. I don't think it's the right time to start putting giant threats like Beanstalk Giant into play. Not yet, at least. Would rather hold up lots of interaction. Wow, that was a lot of good interaction. All right. Is it time to just like bounce their whole board and start beating the tar out of them? It might be. I'll cast Bone Crusher first, get a couple more cards off of this. Got plenty of mana. Lovestruck Beast isn't doing a lot here. Yeah, I think we do this. We go for a double bounce. I'm going to get rid of... I probably shouldn't keep getting rid of Omnath here. I think I'm going to get rid of 2 plants. Actually, why don't I double stomp Omnath? That seems pretty good. Got plenty of interaction here. They could easily have another Omnath in hand. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Actually, I want to hold up Favish just to bring back to my hand. So what's the actual play? I think that's it. We do that. I hit my opponent. I'm going to hold more interaction in my hand to potentially get around nasty Omnath stuff here. I may be making some loose plays here. This is like a pretty complicated situation. Alright, yeah, I'm happy holding up a bit of interaction plus the ability to bring Fae back to my hand. This could easily be their Genesis Ultimatum turn, which could be bad news. But the deck doesn't literally go infinite too often, especially right now when they have so many counterspells in their deck. I'm guessing they boarded a little bit down on some of their big effects to fit all that in. I doubt they boarded down on Stomps against the Innkeeper deck. Escape the Wilds, okay. I think in response I'm gonna double stomp Omnath here. I think in response that's what I want to do. If they have a counter spell for one of the stomps, I might just bounce Omnath in response, because that leaves them basically no mana to use with Fae of Wishes here, which is awesome. Or no mana to use off the escape. Yeah, they're going to have a counter for one of these. They're going to counter too early, I think, and give me 2 free damage. Nice, okay. I accept that. Lithoform Engine, Anthony Farnham. No, Lithoform Engine is very, very slow. Do not think I would want that one on my board. Alright, now we're just going to double bounce Omnath. Well, let's see. I guess if we let this go off, the problem is they could draw counter spells off of this. I don't want them like Mystical Disputing 2 of my Petty Thefts or something. I think we just go for the bounce on Omnath and just make the rest of this turn really awkward for them. Are they really going to counter both of these? If they have 2 disputes, then this one Brazen Barber eating 2 disputes is incredible news for me. So I wouldn't care about that one whit. I mean, it's not an aggro Clover deck, Samsvo. It's just an aggro, yeah. It's just an aggressive deck that happens to play Innkeeper. It doesn't play Clover at all. Alright, so opponent's Dispute, Roiling Regrowth, Radha, Dryad. Gotta love it when they hit no lands off the escapes, chat. Gotta love them hitting no lands off the escapes. Because that happens to me sometimes too, so it's fair. Wow, they don't have any more lands to play, chat. Oh, crap. Nice deck. Can I kill them? I don't think I can actually kill them, but this is going to be fun nevertheless. So we're hitting for 5, 10, 17. They have 1 Mystical Dispute, so I can't quite kill them because they can counter one of my Fake copies. Actually, wait, how much mana do I have? 6, 9, 12, 13? I bring back Fam at 11, I use Fam at 7. Pay for Mystical Dispute, that's 4. Shit, I can get Embercleave. I can put him to 1. I can put like 2 off of Embercleave, but I can't get down the Embercleave and the Kazul's Fury. Oh, I get Inscription. I feel like they have another dispute in hand, though, is the problem. The way they were playing that last turn, I think they have at least one dispute in hand. I want to get Embercleave. I worry they're going to try and counter both my wishes, and I'm going to be pretty defenseless against this next escape to the wilds. I'm just going to attack here. I think putting them to 7 is enough. That I have a lot of options in future turns to kill them. Mostly my timer is also running out. I guess I have 2 timeouts, so it's whatever, but... Oh, if they use an interactive spell here and give up this Mystical Dispute, that would also be just incredible. Spikefield Hazard, Brazen Borrower. Alright, so use a 1-mana interactive spell, that's fine. They go to 4 to 10, I guess. So you've still got this dispute up, so I just don't have to play into it, though. What I get to do is just, Incarcerated Geneticist, well, we're about to be 80% against the Omnath matchup, so maybe. I mean, it turns out that the way to handle the Omnath matchup is just play good Clover cards against them until they die. So it wasn't some big secret. Escape or Beanstalk? Do I have a land drop this turn? I do have a land drop this turn. I think I just Beanstalk. What's the thing that kills me here? Like a huge turn that ends in Kenrith? And the best answer to a huge turn that ends in Kenrith is probably to escape, so I have a bunch of interactive stuff sitting in my exile zone here. Like a Bone Crusher Giant. Yeah, that seems fine. Okay, so now we're going to go with Riverglide, Pathway, Forest. Just pass here, I think, holding up Double Stomp. Yep, holding up Double Stomp. A Brazen Roar I can cast into turn. We could maybe die to some kind of absurd Kenrith turn, but given that I can kill any Lotus Cobras I see, I think that's pretty unlikely to happen. Phylath World Sculptor. Deal. Okay. Big plant token, I honestly don't give a darn. I have this Brazen Bar in hand too, I almost forgot this was here. Hey, Bloody, how's it going? We're just beating the snot out of an Omnath deck here. It's kind of a weird Omnath deck. I think they're running Phylath instead of Genesis Ultimatum. I haven't seen a single Genesis Ultimatum yet. I don't think. So, obviously that makes things easier, but we're still having a pretty good time. Their cards just don't line up especially well if they're not absolutely going all, going hard on their thing. So obviously they get a dispute here, but I draw 2 cards, so I don't really care that much. Roiling Regrowth again. That's cute. That's cute. Gonna make a bunch of big plants, opponent. Looks like they're gonna make a bunch of big plants. Sure. Nice thing is they have to stack both of these triggers. Are they going for 1 giant plant? No. Okay. Must be a great game, Bloody. I have not played it. I need to get around to finding a playgroup at some point. It just feels like it can't be this popular across so many segments of the people I follow without having something to it. Gotta get some friends, though, first. Feels like that's an important piece of the puzzle. Well, number X3, they're playing a lot. I mean, the Omnath deck already is incentivized to play a lot of basics because they run cards like Cultivate. Well, I guess some of them do. Some of them run Roiling Regrowth. All right, this is incredibly lethal. Just bringing Fey Wishes back to my hand. We don't have to do anything fancy here. Not that I don't want to do something fancy. We don't have to. Oh, I have a Fey Wishes over here too. I forgot, chat. It's fine. It's fine. So we're just gonna get Kozul's Fury and kill them. Yes, good game, opponent. Good game.
That's the goal.
We'll say a good game after we finish fetching, because otherwise Arena does weird stuff to your stuff. Take Blazing Volleys to kill off their plants in a showy fashion. We didn't actually have to do that, but I just wanted to cast Blazing Volley at some point that match. I'm sure you understand. Thanks, buddy. We may take you up on that sometime. Hey, Rep 2 and Repeat, thanks for the follow. All right, nice 2-0 on the night. It only took an hour and 20 minutes to play our 2 matches. Yeah, on the plus side, like if they were playing Genesis Ultimatum, I'm very prepared against the Genesis Ultimatum plan. A bunch of Mystical Disputes. Yes, Phylath was not an impressive 6-drop that game. But then again, 6-drops just generally look horrible against Clover, unless their name is Dream Trawler. Okay, having a good time so far. Just gonna keep on jamming. Yeah, chat, how long does Among Us take? I've never been able to see, I've never seen a full match of that, just because I sometimes tune into a stream, but I don't know what's going on. Ooh. I'm up against my Mythic Invitational testing partner, Goodbye, who is also well-ranked. This calls for a hello. His hand is adequate. I'm not excited about it, but it's adequate. I feel like Goodbye might be playing an Omnath deck. Using Temple of Mystery here because my hand is garbage and I want it to be less garbage. Wade Magic, what was the punt? Is the punt wanting to play Among Us? I'm confused. Mountain, great. Alright, well, just gonna jam the Lovestruck Beast here, the token here, I think. This way, if they don't do anything turn 3, I can play the Beast. If they play like a Radha, I can bounce. If they play like a Snake, I can Shatter Skull smashing it, which is essential. We shall not suffer a snake to live. Do they have another snake, or is it just like a stomp or something? Looks like it could be anything. Sure, Bone Crusher Giant's fine. We do not usually win these games by attacking with Lovestruck Beast anyway, and now we have a nice Edgewell Innkeeper that is safe from the predations of that particular Bone Crusher Giant. Bye. Wade Magic, it counts my punts. Rep 2 and repeat. I think it's pretty simple. A, people are playing the deck. I think there were multiple copies in the last CFP Pro Showdown. Top 8. So A, people are playing the deck, and B, it's kind of old news, right? Like if you want to play like a big, flashy, multicolor green-blue based mid-range deck, you've got a pretty good one available to you, like sitting right here. Alright, this draw has turned out real bad. Felidar Retreat we can handle, though. Felidar Retreat no Evolving Wilds is like slightly obnoxious, but I can handle it. Escape the Wilds, there's a good card. There's a good card. And they can't play Genesis Ultimatum next turn, which is gas. Alright, I'm going to hold Lovestruck Beast for now, because we're playing sort of a slower, more defensive game against them. Storm's Wrath at some point can take care of a lot of cats if we have to do that. Alright, so we've drawn all of our lands here nice and early. We get him out of the way, chat. We're getting him out of the way. Yeah, Zweck Dog, I go back and forth between him a little bit. Kenrith, alright, Kenrith is cute. But, like, doesn't do a lot here. If they want to trade Kenrith for Lovestruck Beast, I'm pretty into that. Okay, so Clover is pretty interesting. Clover, I've got to say I'm a fan of that one. I have no idea what it means that no one died and they found both imposters, but it seems good, so good for them, is my summary of this. Alright, Clover down. This is where you should crack the Evolving Wilds. They did not crack the Evolving Wilds. Good news for me. I would really love to Mulligan Recovery back this Escape to the Wilds, but I think I probably have to double bounce here in response to the fetch. Like if I bounce Kenrith and Retreat in response to their fetch, they really haven't accomplished much with their turn here. Which seems amazing to me. So much as I would like to cast this, I think Discretion is the better part of Valor. I don't want to die to a Kenrith right now. No attacks. Go ahead. Alright, what's the move here? Are we going to crack this Evolving Wilds? Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Get the hell out of here. Also, get the hell out of here. None of this. Okay, so if they have Genesis Ultimatum next turn, that's a problem. Otherwise, Double Wish with this much mana probably like solves our goodbye problem. But this could just be Genesis. Nope. At least not obviously. It could still be Genesis Ultimatum, I guess, if there's an Evolving Wilds or a Fabled Passage in there. Nope. Okay. Felidar Retreat can't even be cast right now. Sheesh, that was an embarrassing little turn there. Goodbye. Alright. So I think I'm just gonna get Negate and Escape off of Fae and then double stomp the Omnath. Maybe how much mana do I have? 10 mana. So yeah, I can get Negate, Escape, double stomp the Omnath, play the Fae out. That all seems pretty good. Actually, I could get Negate once in future. That might be better. That might be better. Could pick up Ugin as well. Again, that feels like a tricky thing to rely on, especially with a Kenrith around. Yeah, Kenrith lets them kill Ugin a little too easily for my tastes. Don't think I'm that into it. Pick up Negate, and then do I pick up once in future or Escape? What's in my graveyard at the moment? We've got a Shatter Skull Smashing in there, and that's it. You could get Inscription to kill Omnath. That's not that good. I'll just pick up Escape.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Yep, even better than QQ, folks. Even better than QQ. Feels like they could easily have another Omnath in hand, but whatever. At least we're slightly dictating the terms of their play here. And we got plenty of blockers for the stupid cats. Still not attacking here. I don't think there's much point to it when a Kenrith can just come down, so we're just going to wait. Okay, Triumph getting cycled, sure. They could get Uro down this coming turn, which would be slightly annoying, but Escape the Wilds probably finds us something to do about that. Felidar Retreat. You know what? How much do I care about this, chat? I have an Escape the Wilds I'm about to cast. I just don't think I care that much about Felidar Retreat. Maybe that's dumb, but I just feel like there's going to be better things to care about. I've got Storm's Wrath, I've got Return to Nature I can wish for, I can do all sorts of stuff. Lotus Cobra, sure. Yeah, this is all fine. Yeah, I'm pretty neutral on Aether Gust. I never minded it that much, I guess because I never played the kinds of decks it was really good against. I could bring Fae back to hand now and just wish for Storm's Wrath next turn. We get Return to Nature as well. Maybe that's what I actually want to do. Can I just put them like in prison here? Just put them in jail? I just need to kill Kenrith. Good night, Team Plasma Guy. Nice to have you there, and thanks Potato Magic for the follow. Yeah, I'm going to bring Fae Wishes back here. I don't know that I'm actually going to use it versus Escape next turn. It might depend on what I draw, but it's just not doing much good sitting on the board. Okay, so this smells to me like I kind of just want to get Storm's Wrath and cast it and just keep chilling. Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll get Storm's Wrath once in future. Could get Ugin here, I guess? Maybe Ugin here is the thing to do? I guess I get Storm's Wrath Ugin? No, I'm going to go Storm's Wrath once in future. Just keep the grind going. Just never, ever, ever stop holding up Negate, chat. Never, ever stop holding up Negate. That's my advice. We lose an Innkeeper, but that's fine. They lose everything over there. They can cast Kenrith and use Kenrith to draw a card, but I have Escape the Wilds in my hand, so I don't care if they do that. I'm also still at 20 life, which is pretty good. Yeah, Mr. Easy Mode, I think that's what we're eventually going to do. Not that we're necessarily going to get to the point where we grab Ugin, but it's like a thing we are capable of doing. So Kenrith is basically just a 9-mana Omnath. Comes down, draws a card. Very cute stuff. Ooh, they pinged off of it. Do they want to give it... They're going to give it haste. Interesting. Are we trading? Tradesies? Oh, they have the pump on this. Do I want to make them spend 2 mana to do that? Lose Lovestruck Beast in the process? I don't think so. I think this is fine. I guess the thing about blocking it actually is they don't get to draw a card off it, so maybe I did want to do that. I probably did want to do that. It was probably a mistake. Anyway, Escape the Wilds. One Brazen Borrower and their whole game plan is just a joke here. This is also fine. Okay, running out of basics notably, but still doing okay here, I think. Kind of slightly annoying. I don't want it to stay on the board for that long, but I think we'll find a way to get rid of him before too long. Hey, Tammy.
This isn't Tammy.
Oh, who is it?
It's Tammy.
Oh, why did you lie? You know you know I get confused easily.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I wanted to try something new.
Okay. Alright, ooh, we have a pathway too. Alright, so I'm actually going to cast Of One Mind here. So you have another untapped land I can jam, which is amazing. It's like Of One Mind is like, it seems like a weird situational card, but like, it feels like every time I cast it, it's just that. It's just 2 cards when I kind of want them, and it's cheap, and I love it. Love it so much, chat. Negate is such a good warm blanket of security. The fact is, this game is still not over. They could be running main deck Mystical Dispute and Ultimatum or something, and kind of drawing like several cards here is kind of obnoxious, but I think we're slowly approaching the point of being okay, even though the not blocking with Lovestruck was probably a punt.
You punt never.
Me punt. Sometimes. Oh, killing 2 Innkeepers, that's cute. Do I negate this? They technically can't Ultimatum, and I do have a once in future. I think I do negate this. I guess they could escape the wilds, so maybe they got me. Maybe I got debated, but I think keeping around 2 Innkeepers lets me handle escape the wilds just fine. Alright, opponents hit a bunch of big stuff over there. Big things are going on, but they did not hit very many lands, and all their spells are expensive as crap, so I just get to once in future back from negate. Do I escape as well this turn? Probably. I kind of want another Clover. Another Clover would just be really nice. Nope, okay.
You can't always.
I kind of meant to put that on blue, doesn't really matter. So I could Fey for Mystical Dispute. Fey for some things. I could go like... Let's once in future first, I think. Gonna get back... Negate plus... I don't even know, man. Another escape, maybe? Probably it's another... It could be Of One Mind. I think it's Of One Mind, actually. I don't want to accidentally mill out. They still have 21 life over there. I kind of like the idea of just trading 1 mana for 2 cards here. Alright, and then I'll use Fey of Wishes. I think I just grab Mystical Dispute. Possibly a fight spell for Kenrith as well here.
That's the goal.
Take Dispute. Maybe it's actually just Ugin, come to think of it. Yeah, I think at this point it's pretty safe to get Ugin. And then I'm going to cast Of One Mind, I guess. No, actually, I'm going to make Lovestruck Beast because I'm going to actually have to discard a hand size at this rate. So we're just going to hold up 2 counters, make some tokens for extra blockers, and pass, and that should be okay, I think. We're not that close to doing... Yeah, this is complicated. Alright, we finally got Ugin, chat. We have exactly 7 cards in hand. I didn't count them, but, you know, this deck just lines up perfectly sometimes. Mandaradadada, thanks for the follow. Omnath. Do I just dispute this, chat? Do I just make them tap 3 lands so they can't cast anything else? I have double stomp for it. I'm not going to dispute it. I have double stomp for it, it's fine. Just going to let our opponent... I guess they'll cast Cultivate now. This is acceptable to me. I have Ugin. So they can make cats or whatever if they want to make cats or whatever. I have Ugin in my hand. I'm just going to get them with that one, I think. They are up to, you know, more cards in hand, which is not too shabby. And 25 life, but as soon as I start casting Beanstalk Giants, they're going to die pretty quick here. Weed Magic, we're on 18 cards. We're doing just fine here. Just fine. Weed Magic, or Goodbye is doing a great job of playing around counterspells, I will say that. Yeah, okay, I'll negate that, I think. And we have a, we can't dispute their dispute if they have a dispute in the main deck, but they did not, good. They get a decent sized attack off, but it's not going to kill me. They got reasonably close, but they're not going to kill me here. Oh, another Fae of Wishes is cute. Doesn't do a lot at this point. Oh, I have a Beanstalk Giant in my hand. I totally missed that. I only have one forest left, though, so it's probably not worth it. Do I want to draw cards off these Innkeepers before they go away? I think not. I have another Innkeeper anyway. Let's start with Ugin. I'm just going to -5 now and see what they choose to do with Kenrith, I think. I could get a free attack in for 1 damage with Fae of Wishes, but that doesn't seem important. Sure. Yeah, good eye, Bill Ganich. I'm not. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had to play against Kenrith on a regular basis, so I'm definitely, my reflexes are off around that card. Okay, I've got a Mystical Dispute. I can't get back to gate anymore. I've cast all the negates I get to cast. I think it's just Beanstalk Giant. Just cast something enormous. We're not going to die next turn. Drew Brazen Bar, which is cool, except I have no untapped lands yet. I'm gonna keep holding on Mystical Dispute because it might make some small difference against a potential Genesis Ultimatum turn. And if I keep Beanstalk Giant in play, we can just kill them in a lot of ways with this. We made it. We played a temple. Weed Magic. We played a temple. Okay, opponent has their own Ugin. That's cute. Are they going to plus to kill my Ugin? I think they just have to kill Beanstalk Giant. But they disagree. They disagree. They think they can get away with doing that. That's not going to work, though, is the thing. It's not going to work, though, is the thing. Alright, well, we get to do the thing that I like doing against this deck, which is getting Embercleave. Whoops! I cast it by mistake. I cast it by mistake, chat. That's my bad. I meant to get Embercleave. That's okay. We'll just have one mine and get a Clover and kill them with Stomps. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Nobody pay any attention. Everything is fine.
What happened?
I forgot to... Alright, I can actually still wish for Embercleave. It's fine. I just wanted to get rid of their permanents first. Okay, let's try again, chat. Let's try again. Let's try again, but use the wish this time. The stupid... Alright. There we go. Granted. It's fine. God only knows how much time this match has taken.
Why did they let you untap a beast?
I don't know, Tammy. I don't know. I don't think they had any winning lines at that point.
I killed your beanstalk.
Yeah, I would have had an Ugin, though. And my Ugin would have... I mean, they wouldn't have had an Ugin anymore. Yeah, alright, so it wasn't actually a whole drama. It wasn't like a whole thing or anything. Don't worry, chat, don't worry.
No, definitely a drama. I love drama. Why do you think I come here? I come here for the entertainment. I come here for the punts.
I'm sure you do, dear. I'm sure you do.
I come here for the pull-ups.
Alright, Fae, Borrower of One Mind. Like, one of these... I never know what the cut is here. I think it's just Fae of Wishes in the draw. It's a bit slow. Of One Mind I actually kind of like. Okay. Really don't know what the right move is, though. Well, this is good. This is the first time I think I've run into an Omnath player who is this highly ranked. And it seemed like Goodbye actually played that match out pretty well and still just didn't stand a chance. No, stood a chance, obviously. It wasn't like it was not a close game, kind of, but our engine overtook their engine. And the big thing there was just being able to wish for counterspells. Sometimes I've thought of putting more than one copy of Negate in the deck for that reason. I think 5 lands is a little too bad. This is closer. It's actually pretty darn reasonable. Gonna keep 6, gonna dump Escape here, I think. And we're going to hope that they have the kind of hand that Mystical Dispute's good against. Ideally, there are no incoming Lotus Cobras. Do I jam Innkeeper? Yeah, I think so. This could get stomped. That would be sad, but I think mana's going to be at a premium next few turns. No Cobra, nice, love it. And we're just going to keep holding up Mystical Dispute for a long time here, I think. Stops Uro. Stops enough things that I find obnoxious. Cultivate, sure, whatever.
Oh, no.
What's the matter, Boo? Did you just look up Cultivate?
No.
What's the matter then?
Frank HG says that they're gonna ban Fae of Wishes.
Oh, no, they're not. They're not going to do that. That is not what they're going to do. Wish we had more blue right now. Think it's worth getting Clover down. Obviously, if they just cast Escape to the Wilds, I'm in a lot of trouble. I could try holding Dispute for that, but I feel like it's trivial easy for my opponent to play around all my counterspells if I never do anything. My plan is to like do things occasionally and see if that works out. Shadow Skull smashing Innkeeper, sure. Does make Of One Mind a lot worse, notably. God. I'm gonna wait. No, a punt is fine there. It's like a good reminder for me to be less casual with all this stuff.
1.7 punts per hour? What happened?
Oh, well, one of those was Weed and Magic accidentally punting me to find out what the punt button did. At which point we had a discussion about what the punt button does.
Oh, I think you can unpunt.
Well, we didn't discover that for a while.
Did someone unpunt you yet?
Nobody has unpunted me yet, Tammy. It's very sad. I feel all punty.
Okay, I unpunted my punt to make
Thank
up
you, dear.
for...
Alright, so this is the problem with Mystical Dispute. As you can see, we're kind of sitting here doing nothing, and eventually Omnath's just going to get cast, and we can't counter it because we don't have double blue. Alright, well maybe we get to counter Escape the Wilds? Probably not. I think they're just going to dispute this. Yeah, or negate it, sure. So like, our plan here kind of relied on our being able to keep up with the opponent land drop-wise, and we just kind of mulled into some weak nonsense. I need another blue sorcerer, just going to be able to cast this with negate backup. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Alright. Well. Other Clover, I guess. Don't think we're going to get out of this one alive. Maybe we draw Beanstalk Giant? But it does not look good for our hero right now, chat. Howdy, Bottle Brush. That's a fabled passage. So if they get an island, they actually can just cast Genesis Ultimate with negate backup. Alright, I'm done with this one, then. We're done here.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight.
Hey, I'm Gone Ham. Thanks for the follow. Alright, so next time, I would like to draw like one Mystical Dispute and also some other cards that like do things, please.
You're asking too much.
I know, Tammy. I know I am. I know. Yeah, second blue source there. We might have still had a chance. Goodbye, doing lots of sideboarding over there. Just noticed the message that he sent me.
Oh, is this one of your teammates?
That is goodbye, yep.
Wait. Is he one of the 5?
No.
Is he the 5th?
No, he's a teammate from the Mythic Invitational testing team. The other one.
Oh, the previous one.
The previous one.
Ah, yes.
That Frank Black, is that dry as in like low energy or like dry as in dry humor? Ah, okay. Thank you for clarifying. You know, Tammy and I have a long time comedy team thing going. I think we keep this. Need that third land, but a lot of explosive potential in this hand. 2 Innkeepers just draws a lot of frickin' cards. Contest Meister, I would consider Clover to be a mid-range deck, but in like a very broad sense of the word, because It's just like very different from other decks in the history of Magic. So lands are great. Bone Crusher to stave off an early Cobra great. Goodbye Mulliganing is, sorry to say it goodbye, but it's pretty great. Oh, second Mulligan's not fair though. The Mulligan once, it's not fair you have to Mulligan twice. Rep 2 and repeat, depends on the matchup. I think the usually like 3 or 4 would be a pretty reasonable number. Alright, well, I'm just gonna jam the other Innkeeper and the token here. Hopefully, if Goodbye brought in, what do you call it, the 2 mana, deal 1 to everything card, then we're going to have a hard time this game. But I assume that is not the case. Alright, it's also now too late for that to matter. So, Omnath decks kind of have like one kind of broken draw usually. Here we have hit our other kind of broken draw. The 2 Innkeepers on the play. Dispute's nice too. That'll help ward off the Omnath. That is one of the only things that could really stall us out from this point. Yeah, Ball Rush. Greed piles are, as often is the case, they're pretty good.
That's the goal.
I at least have a greed pile that I built, the fair way by building it out of a pile of kind of weak individual cards. So I consider that fair. Alright, so the draws are like a little clunky, but this one Mystical Dispute goes a long way, I think. And Goodbye is just dying really fast here. We're just going to counter the Omnath, and then that should do it.
I love it.
I love it too, Tammy.
I love to see it.
You love to see it. All right, got him. That's 2-0 against Omnath on the stream, and it's now taken less than 2 hours. We're picking up the pace of these matches. Rank 31. All right, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. WizPig3, thanks for the follow.
I thought you said that you were almost 80.
I mean, I am now 8-2 against Omnath.
Oh.
So that is 80%.
Oh, okay. Oh, but on the stream you've been 2-0.
On the stream, I am now 3-0 and 2-0 against Omnath.
Oh, you've only played 3 matches this stream?
They were long ones. You saw the last one.
Dude.
They've been long. Oh, good sport. Goodbye, good sport.
I feel like I saw like 4 patients in the amount of time that you should play 3 matches.
Yeah, well, I mean, are your patients as complicated as my matches?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No mono red patients today?
No mono red patient. What would a mono red patient be? A mono red patient would be like, I had a nosebleed, but then the nosebleed went away.
Yeah, Richard Thrall is Nixon. I'm not saying, and I hope I didn't say adventure cards are individually weak. They're great cards. I'm just saying you're taking a bunch of fair cards and stapling them together. Like, I don't think anybody ever referred, I mean, probably somebody has, but I think in general you would consider like cards like Brazen Borrower and Beanstalk Giant to be in like a different category of fairness than cards like Genesis Ultimatum, for example, or Omnath. All right, Tammy, what do you think?
No way.
Oh, right, there's no Clover in this hand. For some reason, I just thought there was a Clover in this hand.
No way, Jose.
All right, we can do this.
That's the key.
We can do this, and I'm gonna dump Fae here. The reasoning behind dumping Fae is that if I do hit a 3rd land, then we're going to be able to cast Escape the Wilds on turn 4, a land that makes green, that is. And if we don't, then Fae of Wishes just does very little for us. Start with the island. We have more choices on this pathway in case I draw like a... if I just draw a bunch of lands, and we want to always reserve the pathways until you actually need to decide what color they are. Oh, Richard Thrillhouse, I mean, there have certainly been 2-for-1 creatures in the history of Magic. Alright, now I'm going to keep Fae of Wishes, I think. Maybe that's greedy, I want to find something interactive, but our opponent just played a Temple of Mystery, so I expect we're both going to be doing some unfair things this game. Cobra? Clover? Lovestruck Beast, okay. Smells like our opponent is also doing, yep, alright, it's a mirror, chat.
That's the goal.
It's the infamous Temur mirror match. Let's see how it goes. I can't wait. Would have been nice to curve out a little better than this, but I'm still pretty happy with my hand in the matchup. Although, the part where they just cast Lovestruck Beast this turn and start beating me down actually is going to be pretty substantial. It is very easy to die in a Clover Mirror if you just don't hit enough interaction. Your opponent beats you down with like a 5-5 and you don't have anything. So we're going to try and avoid that. Ideally, they just like stomp the Innkeeper now. Nope. Okay. All right. Do I block their Innkeeper? I don't think so. It does save a point of damage, and I'm, you know what? I'm actually going to block their Innkeeper. I haven't escaped the wilds. I don't need to draw cards with this Innkeeper. I would prefer they not draw cards with their Innkeeper, especially. Darn it! Now I wish I kept the Innkeeper because I just draw off with Fate Wishes, but whatever.
That's given the Clover Mirror a snark.
All right. Now the question is, this is like a legit question. Do I cast Fate Wishes to save 6 life? If I cast Fate Wishes, I think I do. It's going to seem bizarre, but life total matters so much in these matchups. I have infinite cards in my hand. And this not only can block a Lovestruck Beast, it stops their 1/1 from attacking, which is a big game. Drager19, I don't remember if I thanked you for the follow yet, but if I did, thanks. And if I did, thanks again.
Man, I feel like Temur Clover Mirrors are either really, really fun and amazing.
Well, that was a... Okay. I think our Fae of Wishes has successfully upset our opponent.
Damn.
Adventure cards are 2-for-1s, Tammy. Totally broken, see?
Oh.
Such 2-for-1s should not be permitted. That was a collection of good things that just happened for us. Yeah, Richard Thrillhouse. I think Adventures is probably too good in the sense that like there probably shouldn't be a deck that, when played correctly, is this much better than other decks. But I'll enjoy it while it lasts. As long as it's never the most unfair broken thing, I'm happy to play it. When I won DreamHack and then for a week it was the most unfair broken thing, it was still enjoyable, but somewhat less enjoyable. Be interesting to see if we want to play Mulligan Recovery next turn. Generally, in a Clover mirror, the way things usually go is once the board is stable, you start looking for ways to get off like a Beanstalk Fling play at some point. That's like your big goal. Alright, looks like our opponents decided to take the aggro roll here. They probably don't have an Escape the Wilds available to them, so they're just trying to punch through me. But we should be pretty safe from that kind of thing happening.
Reasonable play.
Yes, alright, so I don't think I'm playing Mulligan Recovery, though. I think I need to actually get to do some stuff on board here. So we're just going to double Innkeeper, jam Lovestruck Beast. Not going to play the Recovery as a land until I'm sure I don't have like a different land drop that I want to hit. Okay, we hit 2 more Clovers. There's not really any reason to play out not the Sanctuary here. Mana seems good. Alright, feeling pretty solid about the position. One really good Escape the Wilds could always turn things around for them. But I'm feeling pretty good about this position.
Bounce your Lovestruck. A lot of power coming your way.
Yeah, Kevlar Man, I would take some. I would challenge that. I think all the aggro decks play Embercleave anyway. And I also just don't think Cat has like a great shell around it at this point. Interesting. Opponent went for the tap land this turn, which means they took away their own chance to be able to cast a Lucky Clover this turn. I don't know about that play. I would have escaped first there because 2 mana is so much better than 1. Alright. I consider this... Alright, so opponents just got crazy stuff going on over there. But I have triple Fae plus negate, yeah. What I was going to do this next turn was just play Clover, play Fae, wish for like a bunch of good stuff, and
Can
I think
see
they're
the
too
board
far
before you
behind.
sideboard, please?
The board? Yeah.
Can
Here.
you hit view battlefield?
Oh, the battlefield.
Just briefly.
So they had 2 Faes and 2 Clovers up there.
That came off escape? Okay. Alright, thanks.
So I wouldn't have scooped in that position yet, but I think with 2 good players in the mirror, you should expect the person on my side in that position to carry it home. Alright, there is no sideboarding in this matchup. Back when there were Ether Gusts in my sideboard, I used to bring an Ether Gust because stopping Escape the Wilds is really valuable, but I think my deck is pretty optimized right now for like going off hard against them. I could consider cutting Mulligan Recovery for a Mystical Dispute, but honestly, like, Mystical Dispute just isn't very impressive against Clover.
You don't bring in hard negate?
No, I want to be able to tutor for this, I think. What I could do potentially, if I had like a, if I had like a just a regular 2-mana removal spell or something on the board, I might consider that over the Mulligan recovery. But I think Mulligan being a land is nice. This is a matchup where I love having Blazing Volley on my sideboard. See if we get to kill multiple Innkeepers at some point this match. Yeah, if you're going to be playing standard, if you're going to be playing any arena at all, and you're pretty sure about that, you should just you should pick up the lands. All right, this hand is interesting. Brazen Borrower is not outstanding in the mirror, but I love the amount of card selection these temples are giving me. Elven Mind is going to be a nice play at some point. Turn 1 Innkeeper is what we least wanted to see with this hand. That's all right though. I'm just going to look for Bone Crusher Giant. Lovestruck Beast the second. I think a second copy of this is somewhat less useful than a random card. I really want like Beanstalk Giant, Escape the Wilds, Bone Crusher Giant, and Fae of Wishes right now. Those are like the 4 things I'm really interested in finding. Another Clover. All right, so yeah, I think we just play. So the problem is they could have Brazen Borrower right now. I wonder if it's correct to play Clover versus just getting a tap land down. Nah, I should use the Clover, even if they do have a Borrower, which is far from guaranteed given they mold there. I think it's still worth, it's okay to make them use it here. Otherwise, they're using it on my token, which is bad because I want that token for when I cast Double Mind. Well, we could get curved out on here. They're about to like make up for the mulligan if they can just cast a creature. That's okay though. That's fine. That's pretty low tempo. Get some mountain, alright, so Bone Crusher in hand maybe, or an escape. Fae of Wishes, alright, that is one of the cards I was looking for. And I really want to hit an untapped land off this Temple of Mystery. Alright, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. So plan here is this turn I Clover. Next turn I can like Clover plus Lovestruck plus tap land. The turn after that I have 5 mana, so I can Fae of Wishes for Blazing Volley. Among many other options. Brazen Borrower means I'm not just going to die to a random Lovestruck Beast, which is nice. Okay, another Beanstalk. Alright, so their plan could just be to like try and go over us with Beanstalk Giants. We have a Brazen Borrower in hand, which means that we can slow down that plan pretty well. So now we have the interesting choice of actually just like going tokens plus Lovestruck. I actually kind of don't hate that. The big thing about that play is it gives me of 1 mind next turn. The big thing about playing Clover out, of course, is that I get to have multiple Clovers, which is pretty darn good. Nah, I want to get this tap land out. I really want Blazing Volley next turn since it kills the Borrower and the Innkeeper. So we'll just go second Clover, make our red source. Thanks, Salem Thomas. Well, hope you make it to whatever your goal is for the season. That's whether that's top 1200 or top 100 or top 1.
We need to become Aaron Gertler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Psycho Tekmar, thanks for the follow. Alright, Confounding Conundrum. I don't know how many copies this they have in their sideboard, but it's definitely very good in Clover Mirrors. Shuts off a lot of the broken things that I could be doing to them. In fact, I may have to... Basically, the thing I'm looking for now is to like set up a bounce where I can get rid of this and then cast a Beanstalk Giant after it's gone. Because this is honestly really annoying right now. Wow, Spikefield Hazard a token. That can't possibly be right, but I admire the chutzpah. Alright, there it is, Beanstalk Giant. Okay, wow. A lot of options this turn. So we could go... We could just go bounce like Borrower, Conundrum, Clover. Or I guess Innkeeper. This is weird. I basically want to bounce the Conundrum and get 3 lands while the getting's good. I could just do that next turn and get Blazing Volley this turn so they don't have access to Innkeeper. Yeah, this is going to look weird. I'm going to do this. I'm going to wait a turn to get the mana, because I feel like next turn they're just going to cast Beanstalk Giant, at which point I can bounce Conundrum Giant Clover. And that's a really good tempo play that I like a lot. I could also just get Return to Nature and not have to bounce their Conundrum, which might be good too. We'll start with Blazing Volley. And then I believe it's Escape to the Wilds and Return to Nature here. Return to Nature might hit the Conundrum, might hit the Clover. Nice 1-for-1 with that Volley. Get a little bit of chip damage in. Astonishingly mediocre. Conundrum is incredible against adventures. You should absolutely play as many copies of that card as you have access to against us.
Oh, it's beautiful, Aaron.
Working out just as planned. You know what this card does, Tammy? You remember this one?
I looked it up, but yes, this is the land bounty.
And don't you see how terrifying it is?
Yes.
Not good. Don't like it. Don't like seeing it. Alright, so yeah, this turn I'm just gonna triple bounce. The triple bounce does give them another card and access to Clover plus Beanstalk. I don't think I care that much. Just wanna get my mana on now. Actually, this is dumb. What I should have done, I think, was probably kill their Conundrum and then bounce Giant Clover when they play the other Giant next turn. Yeah, this is actually a bad play. I don't think it's going to matter too much. I think we're pretty far ahead, but...
How do you kill a Conundrum?
Return to Nature, for example.
You have a Return to Nature.
Yeah. So now we get to go Footsteps. We get to cast Lovestruck Beast and Of One Mind. Pretty decent overall. I'm going to leave the Mountain. It can be useful to have a fetchable Mountain in your deck until late in the game if you don't need the extra red for anything. Okay, they just done. Understandable. I think we punted that last turn. Somebody can punt me for that, but we were in a very good spot. 27. Oh, wow. Alright, well that was actually the shortest match, the Clover Mirror. Go figure. Yep, thanks for the punt, Tammy.
Keeping you honest.
Well, once more into the breach. That's 4-0 on the stream so far. This deck is really good, chat. This deck's really good. If you want to play Standard, you want to get good at a deck, I feel like this one is more stable to get good at than the Omnath deck. Although maybe they're about to ban Clover and make me cry, but at least I can look at it and I can say with great authority, I did this. I built this ban. Shazi, that's really nice of you to say. That makes me happy. I also learned things from watching other Clover streamers. I can't believe how differently my approach to certain matchups, how much that changed when I watched Luis Salvato play for a while. Sorry to hear it, Salem, but Temur Rogues and Historic sounds pretty sweet. Somewhat lower percentage of Uro decks there. I don't think I can keep this in good conscience. Well, this is really bad, but I am going to keep it. It's got all our colors. It's got a little bit of interaction. I actually think I'm going to toss a Brazen Bar over here. Usually 2 of them is not that much better than 1 of them. And I want to be sure I can hit my first 5 land drops and go Fey into Escape. Or, okay, or do something else with my land drops. We'll see. I wouldn't be incredibly surprised to see Escape go, I guess. Gilded Goose, Fabled Passage into what? Is this like the Jeff Hoagland Blue-Green Swart? That didn't play Gilded Goose, though. Well, I have no idea. Alright, did I bounce the food? I believe I'm going to bounce the food here. Basically turns off a mana, means they don't get Questing Beast or something next turn. Yeah, they should ban Uro, and if they want to ban Escape to the Wilds, it seems kind of fine. Escape to the Wilds is an extremely good card draw spell. Definitely one of the best card draw spells printed in recent memory. And it does a good job of putting the nail in the coffin on the Omnath. Well, the thing is, it wouldn't even put the nail in the coffin on the Omnath. Omnath is just ridiculous. Omnath just casting a turn 4 Ugin off of Fabled Passage is still really dumb. You could still build a deck that just did that, and it would be very dumb. Also, song creation exists, which is tough. I don't know. I think Escape would be like it would do some things. It would hurt the two best decks in Standard, I think, but it doesn't feel like it's in keeping with how they want to do bans usually.
Did you ever say that, Aaron Gertler?
I probably said it at some point when I was feeling especially
No.
cocky, Tammy. I'm sorry. You know me. Sometimes I'm just feeling especially cocky.
Take that back.
I do like that I can Fey Wishes for Storm's Wrath next turn in case my opponent does aggressive things.
You need red land.
I have 2 red lands. This is a red land.
Oh, okay.
That's the nice thing about the pathways. They give you lots of instant red sources, so Storm's Wrath is always pretty trivial to cast. Alright, I think my opponent is just roping here. Not much we can do about that. We're just gonna continue on with our lives here. Huh, which of these do I want to cast as a red source? I guess I'll do this one as a red source. What would I replace Escape with? Goodness, that is a tough question. I don't know. I would start playing some other decks first, probably. I probably would play other decks in our new format and try stuff out. If I had to replace Escape, probably Of One Mind. I could see this deck just playing like 3 or 4 copies of Of One Mind, frankly. Maybe like a couple of Of One Mind and a couple of just random good humans, like Derail or something could be good.
Are there any other good ones? You're not into make Of One Mind good.
They're good 1/1s. There are some like playable 1/1s. I don't think any of them are really special for Clover though. Yeah, if I weren't streaming, I think I would probably like pause and see if I could let this person reconnect or something, but when I'm on stream, I don't want to kind of sit here making y'all wait too. What do I grab here? Honestly, it's probably just another... I'll grab Storm's Wrath, you never know. The only deck thing that could get me here would be creatures. Yeah, Henge. Henge is also great. Maybe it's like... It could be like Henge and maybe some Kazandu Mammoth, because Kazandu Mammoth combo is really well with Henge. You could go in that direction. I would definitely look hard at One Mind, but I like more Henges too. Escape is great, Salem Thomas TV. I just feel like one of the most significant moments in like the last few years of my life has been playing, like, trying out Sultai Clover, doing pretty well with it, feeling like maybe there's something here, and then playing against the first Temur Clover deck I ever saw, and then I cast Escape to the Wilds, and I said to myself, what the fuck? What have I been doing with my time? Seagate Restoration is terrible and would not be a good Escape replacement. You want your Escape replacement to be just a good card draw spell that's good in and of itself. I think Henge and Of One Mind qualifies that. Seagate Restoration is a very bad card draw spell that happens to be stapled to a land, which does not make up for how bad it is as a card draw spell. Alright. Okay, let's see if we can get another real match or two in. We are slowly creeping up toward that top 10 goal, though. Yeah, Zwekdog, Boon, and the Wishgiver is another one of those cards that kind of is up there for being reasonable. I think I like that card more as like a complement to Escape than as a primary thing. It's like a fun flex spell because it doesn't take up much space, but whatever card you want in that slot actually should be like a very powerful, like, kind of later game effect that is like always a really significant thing. I think Boon of the Wishgiver, even when you're drawing 4 off of it, is kind of a medium rate. But I did like that card when I was trying as a flex slot. It definitely held its own. Alright, word up. Okay.
Lovestruck Beast.
One of those hands that's just like slightly too good to not mulligan, but you're not happy about it. Or slightly too good to mulligan, but you're not happy about it. Alright, Edgewell and Keeper. So curious to... Oh, never mind. It was... curious to see if this is Gruul or Temur Adventures, but we don't have to find out right now. Goodbye. None of that, please. Aside from a land that was our best draw, and that probably was our best draw, because we ret draw land and just like feel great about, oh no. Well, That's fair, I guess. Now what?
You literally have to just.
It's not that desperate. I'm thinking about whether I do, though. Thinking about I might do it. I think Beanstalk Giant is it could get me Escape the Wilds next turn. Yeah, I don't think I have to borrow it. I think it's annoying, but I think the best thing I can do here is just get to Escape the Wilds quickly. Especially because if this is the Gruul Adventures deck, which I think is a bit more likely than it being the Temur Adventures deck, they don't run that many adventure cards. And they don't really do ramp stuff either, so they can fill their hand with cards, but as long as I'm double borrower still puts me in a good spot. Alright, so definitely green-red adventures, confirmed. And are they missing land drops here? They're missing land drops. That sounds awesome. Love that. Let's, well, we'll see how long it takes us to get our 5th land, but we're in a pretty good spot, just jamming Lovestrucks. Aside from Rimrock Knight, their adventure cards all cost 3 mana, and Rimrock Knight is basically not a card in the battlefield, so the Rimrock Knights are basically like 2 mana cycle. If they attack with Rimrock Knight here, I'm blocking with a 1/1, because if I block with Lovestruck Beast, they could stomp the Lovestruck, or they could play a Rimrock on the Rimrock and kill it, so no reason to go through that. Feels like they have a Stomp in here. Primal Might, okay. I guess they just don't want to get attacked, which makes sense, because they can't really block effectively. Alright, so...
Actually, news for you, opponent.
Yep, no reprieve, no mercy. And because we can draw into so many 1/1s off Escape the Wilds, I'm just playing the other Lovestruck this turn over the Bone Crusher. Also, Lovestruck's just a much better blocker, so... Opponent missing land drops, very unfortunate, especially, they did the right thing. They kept a hand with multiple Innkeepers, drew a card. And now I might also just bounce the Lovestruck Beast and hit them for 10.
I like the hard cast.
Oh, they absolutely should hard cast there.
I know, but some people don't. Some people get really like, I have to value the value.
That is true. Some people are like that. Alright, so now, because we drew the Clover, we actually just get to give them no blocks and put them to 4. And that seems, especially with the other borrower in our hand, that should be just game over. Yep, Bone agrees. Well, hello in Australia, Jared Magno. I hope Australia is treating you well. Okay, sideboard plans against this deck. We want to do a little bit of boarding against them. I'm going to cut... Mulligan is often like an easy cut because we don't really need the 28th land that much, and it's very slow. Probably cut an Escape as well because we tend to just beat them late game with Beanstalk Giant, and by having sideboard Ugin, that sort of thing, we're going to bring in a Red Cap melee, which is going to kill a good number of the creatures at a good rate. And I'm going to bring in Storm's Wrath, which is kind of expensive to wish for, but can be good to draw.
I thought that for that reason you don't bring in...
If I wish for something against their deck, it's probably Blazing Volley most of the time.
I see.
It's close. You could keep it in the sideboard, too. I just had 2 cards that I thought were pretty easy ones to bring out.
Is there are you using Primal Might at all on your board?
I am not. I'm using a card which is a 2-mana fight spell, which is similar, but that is also my only life gain card in the sideboard at the moment, so I don't want to board it out. Board it in.
What's it called?
Inscription of Might. Or, no, Inscription of Abundance, sorry. I'm confusing with Primal Might. Inscription of Abundance. This hand is pretty good.
I like it.
It's a little awkward deciding if we want to cast the Innkeeper on 1 or not, because they do run 4 Bone Crusher Giant and probably some other removal. But our opponent's just Mulligan to 5, our opponent's just not having a... Oh dear. Alright, well, this is not the ideal way to ladder up, but sometimes magic happens. Autobrush, you're Australian? Did we know that, Tammy?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't think we knew that. That's so special.
That is so special.
Red Cap melee, don't want that?
How do you board it in?
I mean, right now, given that they Mulligan to 4. This is my hand.
Lol.
I actually don't super want that right now. I feel like we're going to be okay against... Maybe I'm supposed to keep it just so I can get to Beanstalk Giant in the end, but I don't have to sack a land if I'm trying to get a Beanstalk Giant. We have a Stomp also. Lovestruck Beast is a good draw. Definitely just stopping here. Yeah, the Jellyfly Man. I think if Escape the Wild's left, then Uro. I mean, if somehow they banned Escape the Wilds and not Uro, then at that point you could do the Uro thing, but that would be a very weird state of affairs.
You know, I respect opponent.
For toughing it out?
Yeah.
That's fair.
They don't know what's in your hand. You could have a crappy 7.
That's
hand
true.
7, right?
I could have one of those.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. I have a perfectly fine 7. If the person before was suggesting Uro is like life gain generally, I think just playing like it's a pretty bad card in your deck. I think just playing 1 or 2 cop is also not very reliable. The great thing about having life gain the sideboard is you can usually find it when you really need it, and otherwise it quietly stays tucked away. Not that Uro is still, I mean, Uro could still be a fine flex slot for Clover, no doubt, but I'm feeling okay about where we're at with the list. Oh yeah, you can win for a Mulligan 4. It's just it's not against a normal Clover hand. Yeah, I sometimes entertain myself by thinking about at any given time what is the best adventure creature in the deck. Like what is the best like card in the deck. And sometimes it's Bone Crusher Giant, sometimes it's Borrower, sometimes it's Lovestruck Beast. I guess this actually, it feels like it's Beanstalk Giant now, just because it's so key in those big ramp mirrors that are the only really dangerous matchup now. But still a fun mental exercise. Alright, so I can Beanstalk. I think we just Beanstalk and then play a land and then go token Lovestruck.
You mean like the best adventure creature for a particular matchup?
The best is just the one that I'm happiest to see in the average game that I'm playing on the ladder. Because Beanstalk Giant's great if you have Clover, not great if you don't. But it is the key thing that keeps Clover, helps Clover keep up with Omnath now. Bone Crusher Giant is often, as I've said, is often in that position.
Yeah, it's just so flexible.
It's just very flexible. There are sometimes, like, when it was also Tie on the ladder, it wasn't Bone Crusher Giant anymore that I wanted to see the most.
It's true.
At that point, it was Borrower Lovestruck. Very much so, Sanctum. I agree with your characterization of our erstwhile opponent here.
I think that Lovestruck is like the adventure creature I'm most happy to see in an opening hand. Because it gets my 1 mana and 3 mana curve.
That's fair.
But I don't always love drawing Lovestruck.
Wait, I was supposed to attack there, Chad. I was supposed to attack. The reason I didn't attack is because I wasn't paying attention. My bad.
Sorry.
That's okay, Tammy.
Distracting you.
Oh no, don't have a Bone Crusher Giant. I mean, do have a Bone Crusher Giant. I would love to play like an actual, full-on game. No? Okay. What's the move now? I could bounce their Lovestruck, which makes their blocks really hard. So I think that's what I do. I bounce their Lovestruck. I attack with all my stuff. If I attack with all my stuff, what happens? They have to block if I play land first, they have to block Beanstalk Giant with something. They can block like Innkeeper and another 1/1, losing one of their Innkeepers, and not die to the Lovestrucks. They could like chump a Lovestruck. Yeah, I think this seems like the right move. I'm going to start with Bone Crusher in case I draw something that makes me change my mind about the bounce plan. How about Blazing Volley? Blazing Volley seems like a good, let's end this one.
Was Bone Crusher from Exile?
It was from Exile. Blazing Volley, don't leave home without it.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to play land there first. That's a punt. That might give them better blocks than they otherwise have access to, but doesn't actually matter. I don't really play those lands before we attack, though. All right. Getting there, chat. We're getting there. I am going to, stand up and stretch or something. No chin-ups because I'm not losing, of course, but, just want to stand up. Stiff.
Oh, wow.
What?
Oh, back cracking.
Yeah, it was stiff. Did I crush your foot with the chair? Oh, 10 push-ups per punt. That's good. That's good. We should punish me for punts, because if I'm playing like a great deck, I should still exercise. Until I'm a great player, too. Also, I just totally rolled my office chair somewhat over one of Tammy's toes, so we were just
Yes.
having a moment there.
Almost flipped my toenail.
She's okay, though. It's fundamentally okay. And thank you, Iago, for that compliment. I'm definitely quite a bit thicker than I was at the start of quarantine, which is why I gotta exercise. Yeah, okay. Classic no power cards, but it'll work kind of hand. Can I get a power card off the top? Innkeeper, Clover, Bone Crusher. I don't think so, actually. I think this hand does a good job fighting over the board, and I really just want to draw something broken. Is that a reference to something, Saint Vanilla? It feels like it's a reference that I should recognize, but I don't. Alright, Triome's solid. I'll smooth out my mana for the rest of the game color-wise, no matter what else I draw. Lotus Cobra, yay, it's load. Oh, Lucky Clover. Alright, Lucky Clover's pretty good. Not going to complain about that. Pretty sure we're just supposed to play that. Yeah, playing Lovestruck Beast is like tempting and all that, but I'm pretty sure this is just Lucky Clover. Next turn we got double Beanstalk and a double Bounce, followed by Fae of Wishes for Blazing Volley to kill the Cobra and something else. So, opponent plays Omnath this turn, which is the best thing they can do. It's fine. We can just bounce both of their cards, and this match is all about sort of tempo ramp. It's like, we don't love giving them more cards, but as long as we can keep all their shit off the board, all the stuff they're doing is not that threatening. Aha, that's the reference. Alright, I probably knew that from somewhere. Goodbye to you, and now we can use Fae of Wishes to get Red Cap melee if they just recast Omnath next turn, which is excellent. Alright, looking pretty clean.
Attack, attack.
Same mood as bouncing Elspeth Conquers Death against Blue-White back in old standards. You could recast this, but at what cost? Repsoon. No, that hand was good enough against an on the play, certainly. If I knew I was up against like an Omnath deck on the draw, then that hand was probably not a keep. But definitely not a mull otherwise. Alright, Cobra into Fabled Passage. They're just going to redo the same thing here. Powerful stuff. And Razzleflav, if you're asking about the one turn when they had a Lotus Cobra untapped, no. I consider this matchup is like pretty similar levels of aggression on both sides. Like, sometimes we're the aggro deck, but sometimes we're sort of the control deck. And early on, I don't want to trade 1 damage for 2 very much against them. Alright, second Fae of Wishes is just incredible news. Alright, here's the plan then. We're just going to go... I think we just get to go full lock them out of the game here, chat. We're just going to go Fae of Wishes. Grab Red Cap melee for Omnath. Grab, like, Negate. And then we're just going to hold up Negate for a long time and challenge them to beat us while we're doing that. Because they could cast Escape to the Wilds next turn, and I would not want to see that. I could get my own Escape. I could get my own Escape as well, but I think the Negate is going to pay more dividends here. I'm okay. Could get Mystical Dispute, which would stop another Omnath, but it wouldn't stop another Omnath if they had another Fabled Passage. I'm just getting negate. Ping this thing and pass, and then next turn I've got like Fey into Dispute or Once in Future plus Escape. And we're just going to try and, I mean, they have drawn a lot of cards, so they may have a lot of big draw effects in their deck, but... Alright, another Omnath. Smells Omnathy. Alright, sometimes they just have the other Omnath, but I still think it's good to not let them easily get 9 mana or whatever. I am fresh out of good Omnath removal at the moment, though. Oh, well, we just need to draw the escape too. That seems good. As long as we have negate, there's just not that much they can do against us here. I mean, they can make enough mana to cast Escape to Wilds twice, so that can be a problem sometimes. Like, it would have been nice to find some removal for the Omnath, maybe, but so it goes. Pathway. I'm thinking just Innkeeper. Innkeeper could get smacked around by a random burn spell from them. The nice thing about Innkeeper is if they play like a creature and they don't play into my negate, then I get to cast Brazen Borrower and get a card. That can't be worth it, though. Just going to play this out as a little bit of defense and hold negate here. So opponent has a lot of mana and a lot of cards. This game is very far from being over, but I'm okay. I feel okay about my current position. The second Omnath was a little unfortunate, but we kind of deserved that by, sending the first one back to their hand and letting them draw a card with it.
Become Aaron Girdler tonight,
The Evolving Wilds here is pretty interesting. Would much rather see them gaining life than having automatic access to more mana next turn. Well, I suppose they probably just have another passage / Evolving Wilds. Ah, wow. Okay, using Stop now is definitely an interesting call, with the Innkeeper revealed in the exile zone here. Car. Ollie Best spelled car. Hello, Ollie Best, by the way. Thanks for the follow. Looks like you've been watching for a while, getting those channel points. Very good. Cultivate. Huh. So if they have a Fabled Passage, they get basically infinite mana. Do I have to let them have Cultivate? I think I am forced, regrettably, to let them have Cultivate. Oh, Heracleon, I don't know. This is a horrible card design. I saw it, and my first reaction was like, that's cool! Because it was spoiler season. My second reaction was, wait, this is a real card that people get to play in Standard. In Standard? This just looks like a Commander showcase card that would be pretty, people would try it out in Legacy. It would be okay in Legacy. Just why? It's like Muxus a bit. It's just wait, this isn't a Commander card that people are going to play in Legacy? It's just a card that gets to be played on Arena? Alright, opponent has generated a lot of mana. If they have a Kenrith, it's going to be kind of annoying. Kenrith would be not my favorite thing to see. The good news is if they do play, I don't know, they play Bone Crusher and some other stuff, I get to just Storm's Wrath?
Damn!
Alright, well we got to do the thing we wanted to do there, but they might just have another one. They do have...
Was that a face-up negate?
That was a face-up negate, which means they probably have another Genesis Ultimatum, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
The good news is I have another face, so I get to go get Mystical Dispute. Thing is, with Omnath and Cobra out, I might need to get Mystical Dispute and Storm's Wrath. Can I do all that and also cast Innkeeper this turn? I have access to 10 mana, so I can do all of that. That's good. Problem is this really relies on Innkeeper surviving for me to be in a happy zone. But I think we need Omnath gone. I could get Once in Future. Actually, I think I just get Once in Future and cast Innkeeper here, in which case I don't need to be tapping all this green mana. Or no, I can't cast Innkeeper if I want to do Once in Future back negate. Shoot. Alright, what even is the move? Alright, I think I want to cast... Darn it. I got one timeout. It's tough, Chad, it's tough. One short of doing the thing I really want to do here.
I'm sorry, why would you just...
Oh, no good reason, I think. I was thinking about getting Once in Future and getting back Negate so I wouldn't have to get Mystical Dispute and Storm's Wrath, but I think it's just correct to get Storm's Wrath here, sadly.
Yeah, I think
I just need to wipe out these two big boys here. Okay. And then I smash. Boop. Alright, and then we Joe you for red. Storm's Wrath. Oh god. My opponent has a Spike Field Hazard in their hand, chat. And yet, if they don't Spike Field Hazard this Innkeeper, they're going to Spike Field Hazard some other Innkeeper, so I gotta play it anyway. Goodbye. Good night, sweet prince. Good news is that Beanstalk Giant beats the absolute stuffing out of these Omnath decks once it gets down. Bad news is I'm kind of fresh out of card advantage. We can put Fae back to hand at some point, but it's not the prettiest of plays. They did have an Evolving Wilds. Alright, really glad I killed that Omnath. Mystical Dispute would not have done the trick. And, like, it's kind of like okay. I mean, I think I just go Lovestruck. I don't want to do Beanstalk yet this turn, I think. I think I'm more interested in going like you, Fae, holding up Dispute, and Double Stomp, and getting Fae back to hand to get back Once in Future, to get back Escape and Negate. We do need to get back the Negate pretty soon, because our opponent at some point is going to get to the point where they can just cast Genesis Ultimatum through Mystical Dispute. Yep, Iago, 3 Disputes for Omnath, Genesis Ultimatum, and occasionally Uro in a pinch. So we've got their third Omnath taken care of if they have it, because of course they do. That's alright, I'm down to trade. And we're just going to double stomp it now before they get any abilities off of it. Three down, 1 to go. When I have like a main deck Negate, they're thinking about something over there. I'm debating that, Iago. Currently I bring them all in, because I think it's just like, you know, wishing for them is a nice secondary effect, but having them is very powerful. But I think I could see like 2-1 split being correct. Uro! Alright, Uro's going to come back very easily at some point. So I think I actually have to let this happen, and then I just have to Tormod script them off of Fae. So we're actually going to keep both of these cards to discard. We have to go like Tormod script plus Once in Future, get back Negate, Escape, and I think that puts us in a pretty stable spot. Not perfect, but pretty stable. Alright, they're running out of resources, that's really good. They shouldn't be able to kill Fae or stop this ability in any way. Yeah, playing as a prison deck makes this matchup easier. Still not that fun, but easier. Basically, you're trying to stop your opponent from doing things. It's like a control deck is like answer all their threats. A prison deck is more like stop them from doing anything in the first place. It's like killing in a row is control deck. Tormod scripting in a row is more prison-like.
I see.
Magic 102 with Aaron and Tammy.
Hey, I'm definitely a 201 now.
Oh, okay. 201, sorry. Once in Future, don't leave home without it, folks. It's 2 copies of all your best wishes.
I feel like I definitely tested out in 102.
Okay, that's fair. Magic 201 with Aaron and Tammy.
No.
You're welcome, dear. Hey there, Bloody. Oh, the deck list is not at all updated, I think Cardboard Live is still broken. But the one on Nightbot's pretty darn close. Kenrith the Return King? Sure. So if our opponent's reduced to doing this kind of crap, then I don't care what they have to say. They can haste everything, Kenrith can get kind of big, and oh wow. Our opponent forgot to use haste, I think, maybe. Yeah, Kenrith drawing one card at a time is not going to do it. Probably against me doing this kind of thing. Ooh, Shatterskull Smashing. That'll kill Kenrith at some point. Need to leave up 2 mana, so I could go like Innkeeper, Bone Crusher. They're going to draw a lot of cards off the Kenrith, which I can't really stop, but that's okay. I could Balaged back Storm's Wrath, that doesn't do it. Or I think I actually just want to put out more power and toughness this turn. Yeah, they can jam a lot of counters on this Kenrith is the problem. Lovestruck Beast tokens plus the beast itself is 12. Which is decent enough, I think. Yeah, so they get to draw 1 card, up to like 3 more cards on their next turn. This is still not over. It feels good, but it's still not over. But we shouldn't be dead here. They're down to 2 cards. I guess the question is if they cast like Fill Out or Retreat, do I counter that? Or do I try to hold out for Genesis Ultimatum? Jared, I found that like running other programs, even something as simple as just having YouTube up in the background, tends to bork my stream, so I'm trying not to bork my stream so much.
You can play your own music in the background. What?
Yeah, we could have a secondhand Spotify through your phone speakers. Iago, this as in my deck? I don't think so. I mean, maybe we cast it the highest percentage of the time because we play like 1 copy, ergo we don't really need to use it to land very often because we usually draw it later in the game. This is when we draw most of our cards. Escape the Wilds. Okay, so opponent could have a Genesis Ultimatum and a land in hand, and yet I think we have to negate Escape. I think we just can't let them have this. Next turn we get to Balaged Recovery it back. Alright, let's see if they have the untapped red source plus the or untapped red or blue source plus Ultimatum. Huge tracks of Squabland? Not really. I guess we could have drawn the card. I basically didn't want to leave Innkeeper vulnerable if I didn't have to. Alright, so now I think the play is probably Shatterskull. Oh, problem is Shatterskull Smashing has to be enormous to kill Kenrith. Wait, I can deal like 4 and 8, right? I can deal like 4 and 8, and that seems pretty good. They could save. No, they could save Kenrith from that. I need to deal like. I need to deal all of it to Kenrith. Alright, so we're gonna deal like 12 to Kenrith. We're gonna Balaged Recovery back the negate, and we're just gonna pass. I think is the play. Yep, 12 to Kenrith, please.
You have a new sub?
Hmm?
You have a new sub.
A new sub? Oh my goodness, Potter Goes Gaming. Thank you, first time subscriber. Very much appreciate the patronage. Thank you. Whoa, Snow Monkey is a VIP. It was only a matter of time, and it finally happened. Congratulations, Snow Monkey, on your VIP status. My goodness, what a stream this has been. Several new subs, Snow Monkey's a VIP. Kevlar Man, above 6. We had to hit Kenrith for enough that they couldn't keep it alive. We could have paid even more mana to try and kill Kenrith and Bone Crusher, but I also definitely want to Balaged Recovery back negate here. Alright, maybe I just want a second negate in my sideboard at this rate. This is like, has been really important. Double-faced cards, baby. Double-faced cards.
We need to become Aaron.
Oh wait, I actually get to start attacking now. Hold on. That's lit. That's lit. Let's go. What did Kenrith's last ability? They didn't put a counter on the Bone Crusher or anything. They didn't even use Kenrith. Weird. Guess they have something else to do for the mana? Wheelman, thanks for the follow, and of course, Bottle Brush. We're always going to run your music. I mean, I don't know, maybe like Lin-Manuel Miranda writes a song for me or something, we stop doing it. Alright, so they definitely have a Genesis Ultimatum. They definitely have a Genesis Ultimatum. But I think we're still obligated to counter Escape the Wild because A, what if they don't? B, like, at some point they're going to cast... Maybe I let them do this. Yeah, I actually think I let them do this. They're down to how many cards in the library? 24? Oh my god! I'm a genius, chat. I'm a genius.
What happened? I can't.
They cast Escape the Wilds, and 3 of the cards they hit where he comes into play tapped red land that says red deal 1 damage to any target. Nice escape! Nice escape. We take those. We take those. Guess what? I'm going to take this too. I'm going to take this right off of you. How much time do I have this match? 18:46, 21:30. How has this game been so short? I don't understand.
Is this game 1?
This is game 1, of course it is.
What the heck?
It feels eternal. It just feels like it has been going forever and will never stop going. So they do have a lot of spike field hazards. So there is some awkwardness in this block, because now they can kill the other token and try to get rid of... The thing is I have an Innkeeper though, so they can't actually do any of that. Goodbye. Could have gone for Borrower there and tried to hit them harder next turn. I think I just want to get Terror off the board and have as much mana open as possible for next turn. Keck you, chat. Keck you. Alright, so now I get to go Innkeeper. Yeah, I'm gonna get... So I have a couple options here. Actually, I think the better option is to go for the attack and they're gonna Spike Field Hazard my token, surely. And then I just get Innkeeper down. And of course, they can Spike Field Hazard that on their next turn, but it means I get several draws off the Innkeeper. I think it's more important to get several draws off the Innkeeper than it is to put them to, you know, a somewhat smaller life total this turn. So they definitely don't have...
Down to 8 is...
9.
Oh yeah, 9.
Okay, another Bone Crusher seems kinda okay. I actually think I don't particularly want this. It's like, what takes 4? I guess I can kill... Actually, I can kill a Terror of the Peaks. Terror of the Peaks is one of the ways I could still lose this game, just damage, so I'm going to keep Bone Crusher. I'm just going to go for probably just a Beanstalk this turn now. Yeah, I lose a card off of Innkeeper by doing this, but I get a Beanstalk into play, which means that Fae Wishes just kills my opponent with Embercleave. Alright, so now we've got Negate up, we can bring back Fae. Opponent could go Genesis Ultimatum into Genesis Ultimatum here, I think.
That's kind of late.
Late? No, they didn't have any red untapped last turn. By the end.
Oh.
Alright, well we get to make this decision again. I believe my decision is the same. You can have that. Because now they're down to 18 cards in library. Lotus Cobra, sure. That dies to Stomp. So I can get Uro out this turn, but I think they're still going to die to Embercleave, plus Kazul's Fury. Don't think math is on our opponent's side here. Smells like Uro to me.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat.
Nope,
That's
just
the goal.
Ultimatum. Okay, well. No? Answer to that has got to be no. Do you have Mystical Dispute in hand? You gonna crack a ball once, get Mystical Dispute? No? Okay. Yep, opponent is incredibly dead to Embercleave right now, so we're just gonna do that. Rockets fan 45, thanks for the follow. Yeah, we got Fling and we... Alright, fine, whatever. Sure, alright, so we just need to make sure not to tap too far out of red mana since we don't have a ton, so we'll just be a little careful here with the taps. No more expansion, but Embercleave has actually done a really good job of replacing exactly that card. I'm sorry, Tammy. We replaced one of Tammy's favorite cards with one of her worst enemies. Alright, that's game one. Omnath down. Sideboard plan, I think we'll stick to what we've usually been doing.
It's okay, I believe in the queen.
That's good. I'll get recovery in the sideboard actually gives me wish access to a third copy of negate.
It's okay because there's only one copy.
Wow, we're up to 340 people. When did that happen?
When did that happen?
Just pick a baller stream title, I guess. Or I just keep winning. Also,
Just keep winning. Just keep winning.
it feels like we got a raid, but we didn't. It's just natural stuff. Wicked big, my profile picture. If it's the one where I'm going like this, it's an artist named Steven. Oh goodness, darn it! I'm gonna make a note of that. We should have a way for people to learn about that because I really liked that guy's work and would like to advertise him. All right. Well, if you come back to a future stream, we'll have him as a command. Anyway, keep this. Yeah, I'll keep this. It's got an escape. It can kill a Lotus Cobra. No green mana actually, but we have a lot of green sources. We did take one out. Man, just insufficient green is the worst. Cannot wait until we have the better pathways in. Oh, hello, I'm Lucas. We probably didn't, but sometimes you just gotta stunt on them. Alright, no Cobras. That's something. Yeah, so we need to find some green mana. We're gonna die in this game pretty fast. Presumably this is just Uro. Yep. Nice Brazen Borrower's idiot. Just talking to myself there. So we basically really need to hit a green source soon. I forget if we mulligan a hand there. If we didn't mulligan a hand, then maybe this first one wasn't a keep with no green source. Yeah, if we didn't mulligan, I think this was actually not a keep. Not supposed to be. I don't think we did. That's my bad. That is the Hope Ugly Hood Rat. Alright, they just jam. Opponent is on no fear, and they are correct because we've drawn a lot of things that were not Mystical Dispute. I guess the good news is that was a pretty bad escape. It was a pretty bad escape. So we get to play Borrower now, we get to start attacking, and we get to stomp their Cobra next turn. If we have nothing better to do. Alright, Forest is actually kind of lit. Forest confirmed kind of lit. We're going to go Innkeeper here. Yes, it could die to Spikefield Hazard, but it is what it is. They'll kill my Borrower Spikefield Hazard if they don't kill Innkeeper. I just gotta spend mana. Gotta spend mana to make mana. Okay, Cobra's in. Okay, they're going to cast Passage, and then the goal is when they crack it, we kill their Cobra in response, and they can't cast the Ultimatum in their hand. That's the goal. Or they just do that, and it's whatever. Well, Jared, I know if I love adventure decks now, I don't see any reason not to keep playing them in the future. If Uro is banned, I suppose the Omnath deck will become slightly weaker and slightly less popular. And that will be probably good for Clover, because the deck is very good, and I don't like playing against my opponent's good decks. Okay. So opponent's just doing things here. And none of it's bad, but none of it's like directly killing me, like right now, so guess I'll play my own escape. I think we're going to lose this one. I assume they can somehow cobble together a win with all the crap they've got going. But we'll keep fighting until they show me that they can actually put together a kill.
We need to become Aaron.
Dunshare, thanks for the follow. But yeah, this is not a game we're getting so far early we can afford to just like sit here hoarding counterspells. So those are usually the kinds of games that go best. Four more mana. Oh, Uro can just come out now, huh? I do have a Brazen Borrower, so that's survivable, but I'm going to have to give up my Escape to the Wilds, which is very annoying.
We need to become Aaron Gertler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
I wouldn't be surprised to see more than one card go. Another Spike Field? Oh, a Stomp, sure. Okay. I wasn't gonna attack with that in any meaningful way anyway, opponent, so joke's on you. Okay, well, the question is, do I cast this other escape? Just like bounce the Uro and pray that they're not going to kill me somehow on their turn? Or do I like wipe their board, give up on escape, pray that I can somehow get through this with Fae of Wishes next turn? Probably the better thing to do is wipe their board and not leave them with an Omnath. Oh, they have so much mana though. Does Omnath really do anything that special? But I lose Clover. The problem is if I go for the escape power play, I just lose Clover. I don't think I can lose Clover.
Clover and you lose.
So we're going to start with borrow the Uro. Nah, Shazzy, I'm pretty sure it's Omnath. Our opponent, I don't know. There are so many games where Cobra never shows its face, and it's fine because Omnath creates 9 mana on turn 4 or whatever. Turn 5, I guess, without Cobra. I think if your 4-drop can draw you a card, it also shouldn't be a card that if your opponent lets it survive for another turn, they're dead. I think Omnath is a bit in that category. Alright, so we've sort of staved them off, but I expect Genesis Ultimatums to kill us. They've got Kenrith. We know they have Kenrith. We know they have Terror of the Peaks. So they've got plenty of win conditions.
Question, why didn't you double bounce? I don't think that's a great play.
I mean, I wanted to kill their Omnath so they couldn't replay it. Especially because it draws a card when they play it. I could have played Clover double bounced and then killed their Omnath when they recast it.
Yeah, that was kind of because then like you released their.
Oh, look at that, chat. Uro is coming back. I will say this. Oh, no, it's not. They don't have enough green. Okay. This is probably fine. They don't have the green for it. Oh, they do have the green for it. They'd have a pathway. Oh, they're out of basics, though. Opponent being out of basics is kind of clean.
Uro's like that friend who keeps coming to your parties even though you don't.
Habitat 911, thanks for the follow. Alright, so unfortunately did not rip the, did not manage to rip the borrower for this Uro coming back the second time. I kind of want to scoop this game. We can't Fae for anything that gets rid of it, and it's just like a little bit too much of a value engine for me to think we can win from here. Losing a game is fine, I think. I'm just gonna. I think I'm gonna go here. I think it's.
Coward. It's okay, I respect it.
Do you? Do you respect cowards?
No, I don't.
I didn't think you did. Alright, well, let's try that again, but with a better opener. Probably should have mulled that opening hand. Alright, gotta get that third land, Tammy. Gotta get that third land, but it is nice that, like, everything we have makes red mana now. Actually, that should have been Innkeeper on turn 1, so I draw Fae, which I just want to cast it. And it's unlikely to have untapped red into Spikefield Hazard. Mystical Dispute is... okay, it doesn't really do much, but... doesn't really do much. It does mean we can potentially, if we get a third land, we can Lovestruck, and then maybe protect Lovestruck as we hit them for a bit. That could be nice.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight.
Ben Satire, thanks for the follow. Alright, they did have the Spikefield Hazard. Sad, sad. Alright, we drew the land, though. Drawing the land is great, so... I hope they don't have a Stomp. And we get to hit them for 6 into maybe 6. Maybe their only card is Omnath, and they don't have anything to play this turn. That would be kind of clean. Cultivate, sure. We've got Dispute, we've got the Borrower as well. If they have a Dispute, I'm going to be sad. Beanstalk Giant. Sadly can't use that one yet. I would love to use it to get red, but I can't let down Mystical Dispute right now. Nope. Not today. Not today, Satan. Hey, it's red source. That's actually amazing, because now I get to go for this into grab a blue source, holding up both Borrower and Bone Crusher. That's our last island, notably. Punch the opponent down to a clean 6, and they're going to cast Omnath and go back up to 10. It's going to be sad times, but so it goes. Yeah, I definitely don't think we would need Cat Ban if it weren't for the TDM. I don't think we need it anyway. I think people can handle the TDM, but if Cat came back, I wouldn't really care. It's a special promo Cultivate. Shiny! Opponent has another copy of Escape the Wilds. That's actually a... opponent? You have a Stomp in your hand?
What?
Do they have removal, or was their whole hand just expensive card draw spells and they couldn't beat a Lovestruck Beast? Alright. We found the failure mode of the Omnath tech chat. We found the failure mode. I doubt it. I mean, maybe a temp ban. I could almost see that reasoning. Alright. It's been 3 hours. We are rank 12. Do we go for the rank 10 with the next match? Sammy says 12 wowie. Alright, we're going to try one more time. We're going to try and win this next one. Whether or not we hit top 10, this next one is absolutely my last match of the stream. Clover still busted. Bounce Omnath, Super Lomi. Could have happened. Could very well have happened. Alright, one more. Let's see if we can get it. We've had some pretty good luck today. Our opponent whiffing that hard on their hand in Game 3 was definitely a stroke of fortune. And we're up against my teammate, Chris Patelho, one of the the rivals.
Wow, what a way to end the stream.
One of the better players in the game. Alright, we'll see how it goes. I did beat Chris last time I ran up against him, and then I took his deck and used it for the Mythic Invitational and got top 16. This hand's pretty good.
We need to become
Actually, this is going to be turn 1. Turn 1 Temple, turn 1 Pathway. Should just be turn 1 Temple. Clover? Clover? Close call. I don't think I really wanted it. Ooh, alright. Looks like Chris is on maybe Sultai Control. That's exciting. Rank 32 Sultai Control. Love to see it. This is a good aggro start, though. Sultai Control runs some small removal spells, but not a ton, especially not Game 1.
We need to become Aaron Gertler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
What's Chris's ranking right now?
Chris is rank 32. Chris is a very good player. I think the last time we ran into each other, we were also both in top 100 then. Hey, Foxy75! Glad you made Mythic. Also, Cabana Sucre, B. Wells, thank you for following. And thanks again for the sub earlier, Foxy. You're one of the oldest ones I've got. Uro. Alright. So Extinction Event is a magic card. Extinction Event's a magic card that Chris is probably playing about 3 copies of main. Nonetheless, I feel like it has to be right to play the other Lovestruck out here. I could guarantee escape next turn, but I think it's just gotta be Lovestruck.
Oh, is Yorgo gone? Did Yorgo get banned?
Yorgo is gone. They took it away.
Got banned?
They took out Yorgo. Bo said, thanks for the follow. Alright, Chris, you got the event? Chris does have the event. Take the 1/1s. Coward. Coward! Chris Patelho cannot block warriors, chat. Let it be known. Alright, that's 2 cards in the graveyard, so we don't need to worry about Uro for a very long time. Just gonna jam escape. Well, the getting's good. Chris's deck plays a ton of counter magic, so
All the escaping's good.
escape all the escaping's good, exactly. So presumably he's gonna have to hold up counter magic for Clover next turn. We're just like quietly chipping away while this all happens.
You should probably post the deck at the end of your stream.
Yeah, probably. It's not that different, but it's a little different.
I know.
Alright, so Big thing this deck does on 5 mana is usually like an Ashiok or a Gargaroth, but of course neither of those would accomplish anything, and Chris knows it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Wow, just Thassa's Intervention for 2. I guess without an untapped land, that was not going to counter Clover. Oh dear. Alright, Chris just whiffing hard on the land drops here. You actually hate to see it. Chris is a... I don't know if Chris would call me his friend, but I would call Chris my friend, because he builds sweet decks, and I was really grateful for his help with the Invitational.
Aww.
Since when do you find me cute?
You don't speak that nicely about me.
Well, build me a deck for the grand finals and we'll talk.
I learned to play Magic for you.
That is true. Tammy is great, chat. Let it be known that Tammy is great. Hey, chat. Have I told you before about how Tormod's Crypt is much better than Soul Guide Lantern? Have I told you before about our Lord and Savior Tormod's Crypt and how much frigging better it is than Soul Guide Lantern? That was actually too early. I didn't need to crypt that early.
Why did you do that?
Because I just wanted to put a decisive... I just wanted to do something decisive, Tammy. And yet, it was the wrong play. Let it be known that was not the right thing to do. And if Chris has a third Agonizing Remorse in hand, this actually could get awkward if he takes on a card draw. Oh, I know you have, Snow Monkey. I know you have. Alright, another Remorse. We're going to 8 to take the escape. Oh no, holding up neutral. Oh no, just casting her. Alright, so we definitely got super punished for not crypting at the wrong time. We could have gotten more cards out of the graveyard. And yet we get to resolve this other escape, so I feel like the game is pretty over at this point. Chris is hoping we escape into a bunch of lands, which could easily happen, but feeling pretty good about our spot.
Take lands out of the deck first.
Take all the lands out of the deck first. That is always the strategy. Those seem like good cards. Happy with those. Innkeeper. Fey again. I can Fey again. Should I just Fey again? I should probably just... No, Innkeeper here. We'll mix it up a little bit. We'll do a mixed pressure and other stuff. Now that Chris's life total is getting nice and low. And do I just play Smashing Tapped? I think I do, honestly. What am I going to smash next turn? Nothing. I've got a Borrower. Borrower will smash for me. Oh, we still have a land drop this turn. Wow. Okay, well, we could have done things very differently there, Chad. I didn't realize I still had a land drop this turn. That's definitely my bad.
Put it over mine. Wait, you can still over mine?
No, there's no blue. This was a green-red land.
Alright, looks good.
I messed up. I could have abandoned this turn because I didn't realize I had 2 land drops. I thought I only had 1. Because I put 2 lands to play with Beanstalk Giant, but those don't count, of course. So slightly sloppy play here, but it's been a long night of Magic. I'm okay giving myself some leeway to be slightly sloppy when there's when the game's over. Yeah, Uro without Nissa and without Growth Spiral is just kind of a big slow clunkster of a card. The biggest of clunky clunksters. Where do I start here? Could escape again. I could just quadruple stomp. I could Fey into once in future, get back Tormod's Crypt. Options abound. Chris definitely has a copy of Neutralize up right now, so I'm not going to escape right now.
We need to become Aaron Girdler.
I could start there. I don't know what I want though. But whatever, I do need a double wish before the Fey goes away.
It Neutralize, like...
It does. I should probably just get negate plus once in future here.
Another escape?
In my hand I do.
No, on the board.
In the board? No, I've got that one already.
I would have gone back. I wouldn't mind there.
Instead of escape,
What was your second thing you got?
Torment Script.
Oh.
There are 2 arrows in the graveyard.
Oh, okay.
And this time I'm going to react correctly and not just pop this right away. Tempting though it may be. Okay, so we're going to have to lose the Borrower. Can't play that and hold up Negate, because we're a little light on blue mana. Seeing a 1/1 Shark come out, just a Heartless Act. That is fine. 4 cards in the graveyard for Chris now. Yep. Just going to wait, hold up a bunch of Stomps. I could actually just escape now. I should just escape now. What am I doing? I have a Torment Script in play, and there's nothing I care about negating. I've also hit a Riverglide Pathway, which is nice, so now I get to hold up Negate anyway. Oh, no, I don't. Me and counting land drops, chat. Name a less classic combo. Goodness, just punting everywhere. Alright, well, my Negate's gone. Chris is going to 5 cards in graveyard after this. Or maybe my Escape's gone, or who knows. I don't really understand what the point of playing is, I mean, Chris is seeing me punt. Maybe Chris wants to do more of a sideboard. Or maybe Chris is just like playing this deck really seriously and trying to get practice for future tournaments with it, or you want to play it out, whatever happens. But no, there is no way you can turn around here. Vashers, AZ, thanks for the follow. Yeah, his draw was also super clunky this game, let's not forget. Alright, Extinction Events. Deal. And we're just going to crack this now. Okay, so there may be a win on board this turn. Start with Clover, see where that takes us. Oh, we have Bone Crushers. Never mind. That's a very simple win. Somebody asked about Lotus Cobra in this deck. No, this deck. This deck could run Fabled Passage, but Lotus Cobra is just kind of a iffy Paradise Druid. I mean, it's obviously great if you're doing Beanstalk Giant plus Clover stuff. But like, where does it fit in your curve then? Are you going like turn 2 Lotus Cobra, turn 3 Clover, turn 4 Beanstalk Giant? It just seems like it doesn't really fit the curve super well. And unless you're running Fabled Passage in your deck, which is something Clover could do, but then we've got a lot of tap lands early. It just isn't that spectacular a card. Fabled Passage also kind of pressures our basics a little bit with Beanstalk Giant. Alright, Sultai. I think I want to dump like 1 Borrower for 1 Dispute here. Actually, probably 1 Bone Crusher for 1 Dispute. Borrower can stop Gargaroth and Uro and Ashiok and stuff. I think you want to keep 1 in. I think you don't want to go too heavy on like these games are going to go long. You want to have a good number of threats, a good number of cards that get value off of Innkeeper, a good number of cards that force them to tap out of counter spells and actually cast removal.
Is there a new avatar you can use?
There are some new ones, or at least there's one new one. I'm not sure I want to use it.
Teferi's little.
I guess Teferi is a bit outdated. I guess go back to using Ralzarek. Ralzarek sort of embodies the spirit of my emotes a bit better.
Is he the one that you used during DreamHack?
I believe so.
The one that looks very
Smug?
Smug.
Yes.
Smug.
The King of Smug. Alright, Chris probably gets some wilts here. Probably gets some wilts. Don't know what else you would have against Clover. Possibly debating whether to bring in more discard. Gotcha, Sanctum. Gotcha. I'm trying to think if there's any like character in Magic who I wish were an avatar, however unlikely that would be, that I would rather play as, like that I actively want to play as.
I mean, obviously Edgewall Innkeeper.
Characters as in like named like legendary characters more. Huh. Nothing really comes to mind. Hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, with the Scryland, this is fine. Really grindy, like not as explosive as the first hand. But I'm okay with it. Cycle Land's actually fine. We might cycle that. Bone Crusher Giant. Yeah, I think I'm actually into that. My plan is to cast Innkeeper next turn, assuming it doesn't get Agonizing Remorse. And then if it gets killed, I can just Mulligan Recovery it back. Might get Jawari Disruption as well, we'll see. Also, I should have played around Jawari Disruption, but if Chris is using that instead of getting a land drop, I'm kind of okay with it. Essence Scatter, alright, that's fine. I'll play out the Triumph here because I just want to be able to cast Bone Crusher Giant at a convenient time. Yeah, on the draw with a kind of medium keep, we might be in some trouble. But you do have the capability of drawing Escape to the Wilds at any time, though. Well, Reptune, you might be seeing one of the games that Sultai wins now. I mean, my plan for next turn is to like play Beanstalk Giant or play Mulligan Recovery to get back Edgewell Innkeeper. And if Chris's response to that is just Ashiok, then I'm going to be in some trouble. It's just like, looks like me kind of flooding out, not having anything explosive to do. I kept this hand because it was a little speculative, but I figured maybe I could scry my way through stuff that wasn't great. And we just kind of hit some more stuff that wasn't great. It's far from over, of course, but Chris getting out an Uro is also a big deal when it happens. Alright, Chris missing land drops is a big deal, though, especially when I get to play a card that really puts pressure on him to answer it, and then maybe follow up with a card he won't be able to counter. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Black Dynamite? Well, we'll see, we'll see. Losing Yorian's going to hurt, but I might be able to figure out something to do. Alright, so Chris probably holding up some counter magic there. Bloodchief's Thirst is hashtag not bad. If he has the counter spell, he can't quite get her back, but if he has a Fable Passage, he can. We'll just cast the spells we can cast. Alright, 8 the negate, that's nice, that's nice. So we'll see. Agonizing Remorse is pretty bad here for me. Fabled Passage into Uro would be pretty bad, especially with a counterspell backup. This is one of those matchups where I sometimes will bring in the 4th Escape to the Wilds. Because it's just so nice to draw them, and they often have discard to... Okay, Ashiok. Ashiok is completely beatable. Completely beatable. Surely this is Ashiok plus, right? Yeah, okay. And a tap land. Alright, so we escape. Well, the escaping's good, and we hope we can hit a nice Brazen Borrower, maybe. Clover also pretty good. So we definitely go ahead and smash Yok now. Sweet. Losing Triome and another land is a-okay with me. So Ashiok's a threat. Tough to pressure. Chris could easily live up a counterspell here. Okay, or Heartless Act on Bone Crusher into casting Uro out of the graveyard is also pretty solid. But this all gets completely undone if I just resolve Escape to the Wilds and hit a Borrower. So we're going to be looking to do that. I'm still on 4 copies of Borrower and 39 cards here. Oh, Scalan, super kooky. That is information I did not know. Thank you for this. Oh no, I should have beanstalked first, chat. Why am I a dummy? All right, didn't matter. No punish.
Completely unpunished.
Completely unpunished because we're great. Everything is awesome. Okay, plan now is bounce, Uro, bounce, Ashiok. I think I just want Chris to be spending more mana here. Yeah. Okay, so we do U for blue. U for red. Beanstalk Giant. Into some other stuff. So do I bounce Ashiok or do I bounce this 2-3?
Double stop. What's Ashiok at?
Ashiok's at 7, but the ultimate doesn't do anything because I have... Oh wait, Ashiok can play my cards from exile from here. Never mind. Gotta bounce Ashiok. Can't let Ashiok ultimate against me. No sir. No sir.
Didn't have no land.
Alright, so the game's still far from over. We resolved 2 escapes, and things are still, you know... You can consider them mildly dicey. But Ashiok does not actually provide Chris with more cards, so Chris is going to need, like, a lot of removal. Chris does have a Castle Lockthwain, but Castle Lockthwain currently taps him out of black mana, which is not going to be so helpful for the removal side of things. And we are going to be pretty good at filling out the board fast here. One Fae of Wishes and everything is probably over, though. And I'm still on 4 copies of Fae of Wishes in the deck, so... Yeah, Zwek Dog, I think if you build it in a certain way, it's probably pretty solid at combating specifically Omnath, and then by extension, you know, is fine against aggro decks because Uro is that broken, but as like a strong deck to compete in a diverse metagame, I don't think too highly of it. Oh, mine looks kind of clean. Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Huh. Let's start with... I know I want to stomp, but I don't know what I want to stomp yet. I might want to, like, quadruple stomp Ashiok if I draw another Bone Crusher. So we'll start with the Lovestruck, then we'll cast the cheap Elven Mine, and we'll see where that takes me. Clover Bean. Okay. Ah, Clover works too. So we now go Clover, triple Bean, triple Stomp Ashiok. Chris has a Fabled Passage untapped. That's not going to stop me. Yes, Tammy is Tamwam. Tamwam is Tammy. They are one and the same. One and the same.
It's me.
It's Tammy. Oh, I thought you might have been asleep.
I'm not asleep.
No, you're not.
I might be asleep soon, though.
You might be asleep soon. That sounds like the Tammy I know.
I have been known to pass out on camera.
You sure have. You sure have. Alright, so Chris could easily have another Ashiok or something, and we don't have the greatest offensive force here. Actually, would have been pretty good for me to hold up double blue for Borrower, but I just think I don't have enough blue right now. I will notice that I'm being like somewhat restrained by the like 8 forest mana base. It's a little tough. Alright, do I use Lovestruck Beast? I use Lovestruck Beast, then Chris could name even on Extinction Event, but then he wipes out the tokens too. Using Lovestruck Beast here also empties my hand, which is really nice against Agonizing Remorse, a card that Chris probably has some copies of left, so I think it's correct to go for extra tokens here. Nice thing about having these creatures out is that Chris, I mean, I'm at 25 cards, Chris has like 4 cards of repetitive mill here. So just having these defensive creatures down means that Chris can't be attacking to try and mill me very easily right now. Could still use a Fae of Wishes at some point. We are now at a 25 card deck. 4 copies still. Hey, Kawaii50, long time listener, first time subscriber it looks like, or maybe it was you subscribed and then have subscribed again after breaking the streak. Either way, welcome back to the Edgewell Inn. Thank you for your patronage. Alright, Chris just going for the mill plan, maybe. Exciting stuff. Possibly this is leading into some kind of sweeper? I feel like this could be like the -2/-2 card, so I don't want to block with Bone Crusher right now. What did Chris mill? Chris milled... Chris has not milled a Fae of Wishes, so there's still 4 of those. Ah, Ugin. Ugin makes a lot of sense. Okay. Okay, Ugin has happened, so now I get to cast some beans. Mystical Dispute. A little late there, buddy. A little late, little late. Question is, do I go with 2 beans or 1 bean? I believe the answer is probably just... Problem is 2 beans really opens me up for Extinction Event, which could get me killed, because I still don't have any phase right now. There's a single target removal spell in Chris's hand, then I'm gonna need both beans. Alright. Has he Extinction Evented yet? Don't think he has. He has not. He has cast 1 Heartless Act.
Okay, I thought he did Extinction Event. Oh.
Ugin.
No, I know. Oh, no, there's a hypothetical.
Alright, I'm gonna cast Lovestruck Beast here. I think basically it threatens me drawing a 1/1 next turn, of which I have a few left. And it pressuring Ugin alongside Brazen Borrower. Agonizing Remorse. Okay, do I Mystical Dispute this? I mean, I might as well. Yeah, might as well. Don't have anything better to do. I guess Chris doesn't lose 1 life this way, but I think it's fine. So we successfully did dodge Agonizing Remorse here. And Chris is going to pay for it. Love to see it.
Ouch.
Okay.
Ouch.
Well, Extinction Event's still going to put me in a tricky spot. It's like we don't have a lot of ways to draw to like a pure win condition with Fae here. Like I can like combine Bar. If I draw Fae, let's say, I can combine Bar with Red Cap Melee to kill Ugin. And then get Tormod's Crypt. I mean, it'll probably work out in the end, but I'm starting to run low on cards. Chris also gets to exile something from my graveyard here to stop me from once and futuring it back. Chris has chosen. I didn't even see what it was. And there's the Extinction Event. Okay. Clean stuff, clean stuff. Close game for sure. Innkeeper. Alright, that is a start. Gonna die to Ugin real quick, but will at least get me a card first. Is it Fae of Wishes? There we frickin' go. Alright, now we should be in reasonable shape. Wait, does Kazul's Fury kill? Kazul's Fury is not even close to killing, no. Does Embercleave plus Kazul's Fury kill? No, Embercleave is too expensive. Alright. Alright, it's fine. I am gonna grab... I think it's Negate plus Red Cap Melee for the Ugin and Tormod's Crypt? If I had 1 more mana, I could have gotten Embercleave to kill Ugin, but I couldn't hold up Negate there, so I like Melee. I have an extra mana too, that's actually great. Alright, so we Crypt. Melee Ugin. Sack of Forest. Kill Ugin, then exile the graveyard, because it'll be at 6 cards. Yeah, Ashiok's Erasure is a pretty bad counterspell, unfortunately. I would much rather have like Rewind or Neutralize or something if I were going to go in that direction. Okay, last Beanstalk Giant doesn't do a ton, but it's something. And let's see what Chris's last card is. Needs to be like Agonizing Remorse into a reasonable spell here. Elder Gargaroth, alright, well, can't negate that one, to be fair. To be fair. But we do win with Fae, which is coming back to hand this coming turn. Just gonna grab Embercleave and some other stuff and be done with it. That's a lot of sideboard slots for 4-mana counters, Gabe C. I mean, you can play them both in the same deck, I'm sure. You just wouldn't want to play them. And that'll do it. GG's, Chris. GG's. Tammy, is it okay if I cast December Cleave in my main phase? No, I should practice. I'm going to practice, Tammy. You watch. I'm going to practice the right place. Don't worry, Don Share. Way ahead of you. Good games, Chris. Love practicing against really good players. All right, how are we top 10? How are we top 10? Handling rank 32 at rank 12. I'd say even odds. Hey, did it. Did it. Don't worry, Arteon. We had plenty of ways to stop him from blocking with Gargroth. That would have been a risk. You're right. We didn't have to take it. Whew. Oh, it's interesting. I can now see what the latency of the stream is since I set it to a higher latency setting as an experiment. All right, well, that is going to wrap things up, chat. This deck is very good. Let me pop it up on screen. See if I can find a good way to export it to you all. I wonder if the fastest way to do that is actually just paste bin. Top 10. Did not lose a match on stream. Clover is very good. Beat Omnath, I believe, 4 times. Well, you're welcome, Pincetria. Pincetrier? Darn it, so many names. Pincetrier. GG's, everybody. I like this deck. I like this deck. Sideboard. Yeah, we got every card in the sideboard. More than once, I think, in that series. This feels really clean, honestly. I think maybe we got Ugin once. Still not sure about Ugin. Versus, like, negate number 2 might be fine, too. But glad to hear it, Bottle Brush. And I will quickly export it. And who should we raid, chat? Is Bloody playing, actually? Bloody might be playing now. I should raid Bloody if Bloody's playing. Let me check. How many matches today? I believe it was 8, chat. Does that sound right? I think it was 7 or 8. There were some long ones in there. Hiveblind James, I just want to know why. Like, what are you getting out of the other colors that make you either give up Temur or willing to risk your mana base for it? I just don't think there's anything like that. Alright, 1 second. Send the deck to Chris? Oh, Kevlar, man, that's rude. No. Chris is trying out Sultai. Sultai seems perfectly fine. Sultai seems perfectly fine. Anybody have any Clover questions? This has been a great stream. I'm still pretty energized. If anybody has a few minutes to ask questions about Clover. And hey, Arteon, being 50-50 against Omnath is an accomplishment. Oh, Bloody's playing Clover. Bloody's playing Jeskai Control, it actually looks like. Regardless, we should raid her because she's my teammate. Arteon, the idea is to have a land in the sideboard in a pinch. As you saw in those games, we never really needed to go get it. We never had a problem with the mana cost. Like, this card could cost like 5 mana and it would still be fine for us. I mean, we would play Fling over this if it did cost 5 mana, but I think the 1 extra mana is worth being able to wish for a land in the sideboard.
They're talking about sending the raid to Chris.
Oh, Chris Patello's playing. Alright, well, let's do that then.
Do you want me?
Chris, yeah, confirm the name. And that he's actually streaming.
Yes, Chris Botello.
Chris, spell it?
Botelho.
Well, I know how to spell his name, but how does he capitalize it, or like what's...
Capitalization doesn't matter.
Okay, is there an underscore?
Capital C, capital B, no underscore.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go raid Chris now, folks. If I had to run a Planeswalker main board for you, it's probably Vivian. Vivian can play creatures from the top of your deck, more a heavy creature deck. So possibly 3-mana Jace could be interesting. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my butt now. I don't really know. All right, let's go raid. It's Chris Patello, not Sia Patello. Coverman claims. Is it
I said Chris.
Okay.
My goodness.
All right.
You're the one messing up. Oh, you gotta redo the raid or something?
Yeah, we're redoing it. Hold on. Chris Patello, go watch twitch.tv/Chris Patello, folks. And I'll be sending you there momentarily. Those of you who are left, thanks for watching this undefeated top 10 Clover stream. It's been wonderful to have you all. And yeah, see you on Friday, probably. Any of those Zendikar cards to the sideboard, Most Evilest Wizard. Blue Inscription I thought about for a bit, because it's kind of like wishing for a borrower, which is cool. Past that, maybe a couple of the other double-faced cards to be like, if I could play Fling and then play like a different double-faced card land, just so I had a land on the sideboard that could be neat. Past that, nothing really comes to mind. I guess I was playing a Thundering Rebuke for a while. Thundering Rebuke could be fine. I'm just playing